up front for the linebackers or in the secondary, automatically the perception is that the pressure is all on the secondary, that they have to watch these guys. Is that really a fact?
Oh, correct, yeah. They have to create a lot of pressure with their down people. Bloomsburg does. They have to move that offensive line around and make them off the breakdown. If he wants a straight drop back, if he wants a sprint, then they've got to get some good pressure from their outside people to contain the quarterback so they know where he is. They can mirror him. The defense can mirror him a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on the down people, more so actually than the secondary. The more time you give him to throw, the more chances are he's going to complete a pass that even in a breakdown when he's in a scramble mode where his receivers will start working back to him. And then, your secondary starts standing around and they think the play is over. It could be in for a long day with, if you start breaking down in your coverages.
Now with Cheyney, you throw in an extra variable in the situation when you have one of the conference's leading rushers in Kennard Edward back there all by his lonesome, but the bottom line is you're looking at 4 wide receivers, and before you know it, they're handing off the football. He's had some big games because of it.
Yeah, correct, yeah, and the defense, again, has to play disciplined up front. They have to read if they're going to play action pass or if they're going to straight drop back pass, and they can get a pretty good read, and I'm sure off the scouting report that there was some tendencies in their offensive blocking schemes, and it could feed into Bloomsburg's game plan.
The officials have met with the captains at the middle of the field. Bloomsburg won the toss. The Huskies defer to the second half, so Cheyney will take the football. They'll receive it defending the south goal. They'll move left to right as we view it. The referee for today's game, Tom McCrest Jr., the umpire, Larry Hayes, the linesman, Christopher Burgess, the line judge, John Cadova, the field judge, Joseph Casenza, the side judge, Brad Hernessy, the clock operator is Dom Capilano, and the 25-second clock operator is John Bogart. Those are the guys in the stripes for this afternoon's game. Bloomsburg will be on defense first. The Huskies will kick it off. Kicking off for Bloomsburg will be number 91, Zach Quigley. He's a freshman from Lansdale. Back deep for the Wolves of Cheyney are number 2, Alan Parker, and number 22, LaDonte Bell. So they're standing right around the Cheyney 5, and Quigley's kick is high and deep, and it'll push back to the 3-yard line. Alan Parker out over the 5, and the 10, he's hit there about the 15-yard line. Good pursuit by the Huskies of Bloomsburg down there on the play. Number 40, Derek Williams, a sophomore linebacker. Good job by the Huskies. Cheyney will have it 1st and 10 at about their 17-yard line. Good coverage on the kickoff.
They tried to set up a middle return on the kickoff there, Jim, but it really never got started. They kind of just came to a complete halt about the 15-yard line.
Give you that Bloomsburg defensive unit after this first series of play. Again, 4 wideouts for Cheyney, and indeed they come out in something different right away. Backs are in the eye. Phil Ray is the fullback. Kennard Edward is the tailback dotting the eye. Chestnut comes in motion. It'll be Edward off the right side, and he'll get out near the 25-yard line. So right away, Cheyney put some of those wide receivers on the sideline. Greg Roskus on the tackle for the Huskies of Bloomsburg. He comes into the ballgame with 33 tackles, leading this team. Up front for Bloomsburg, Jim Lanigan, Dwayne Davis, Brian Sims, and Aaron Bordas. The backers are Roskus, Jeremiah Dyer, and Matt Keys. Rudy Garcia and Junie Barnett are the corners. Toye Berry's the strong safety, and Trent Vick the free safety. The play will come from the 20-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Wolves from their own 20. Flags fly. Again, it's Edward on the carry, and we'll hold it right here and check the penalty.
The first series, they come out in a slot formation, Jim, and then the second play, they come out with double tight end, double wing with the single back. But it looks like they're trying to establish a running game.
Aaron Bordas on a tackle, illegal block against the Wolves of Cheyney. So the Edward run out near the 30-yard line will be for naught. And it was a gain of, I should say, 7 on the first down for Edwards, so brought up a 2nd and 3. But this one will go backwards. 14:08 to go, and the first quarter play just underway at Robert B. Redmond Stadium. This is going to be a big one all the way back to the 15-yard line. So Cheyney will go back inside where they started this drive originally, and it'll bring up a Second down now and 12 for the Wolves of Cheyney on the illegal block. So Cheyney going to the ground on their first two. Chestnut now wide to the left. Fred Smith wide to the right side. In the slot is Russ Sanders. Backs in the eye again behind Chris Waiters. It'll be back to pass. Has some time. Got his man, Fred Smith, out near the 30-yard line. Brought down there by Junie Barnett, one of those corners, a 5'5", 166-pound junior from Fayetteville, North Carolina. But Chris Waiters on target to Fred Smith. The play started at the 15. We'll call it the 28. Give him 13 yards, and it'll move the stick, 1st and 10.
Off the play action, they hit a little soft zone there where had Bloomsburg defenders spread out a little bit.
Lone back now is Kennard Edward. Two receivers to the left side. Russ Sanders, the lone receiver to the right. Waiters looks this way and knocked down by Junie Barnett. So intended for Russ Sanders, and Junie Barnett doing a good job defensively for the Huskies. 2nd and 10 now coming from the Cheyney 28. So, Tony, they've come out. They've been in the eye. Now they spread it out a little bit. We haven't seen the 4 wide receiver set yet, but there were 3 on that play.
That was a semi-split there. They took their tight end and made him a little bit wider than normal. They're similar formation again. They're just splitting him out just a little bit.
No sooner said than 4 wideouts. Chestnut and Smith wide left. LaDonte Bell wide to the right side, along with Vernon Davis. Flags fly, and Waiters will go down. Aaron Bordas on the sack. So we'll wait and see this play. I believe illegal motion against the Wolves. Indeed, that's the call. But Aaron Bordas with the big sack on Waiters, the first sack of the afternoon for the Huskies. And the illegal motion will indeed be declined. It goes back to the 19. A loss of 9 on the play will bring up 3rd and 19 now from the Cheyney 19-yard line.
That was some of the tendencies that I just mentioned, Jim, is their offensive line are actually sitting on their heels a little bit and leaning backwards, and it's a little bit of a good key for the down people of Bloomsburg.
Smith and Teron Davenport now wide right. Chestnut, 5 receivers in this set. Chestnut, Sanders, and Davis wide to that left side. Chris Waiters all by his lonesome in the backfield. Back to pass over the middle. Has Teron Davenport. It's broken up. Good job defensively by the Huskies. Number 41 for Bloomsburg on the play, Jeremiah Dyer, one of those linebackers, knocked that away, and the pass will go incomplete. Good defensive series for the Huskies. Cheyney will punt the football.
They were all in great position that time. Nearly intercepted again. That's nearly 2 interceptions on the first 6 plays.
Back deep for Bloomsburg, and not very deep, I might add. Punt formation for Cheyney's number 5, John Chestnut. 2 receivers back for Bloomsburg, standing right about the Huskies' 48-yard line. They look to get awfully good field position out of this with any kind of return. Kick is high and short. Fair catch call in Cheyney territory. Number 24 for the Huskies is Toye Berry. He makes the fair catch signal, and Bloomsburg will have it 1st and 10. The Huskies' first offensive series will be in Cheyney territory at the Wolf 41.
Well, it was a short punt into the wind, what wind there is, but they come in with a weak kicking game.
Mike Lelko goes wide to the right side. Terrell Johnson wide left. Backs are in the eye behind quarterback Eric Miller. Werner and Aristine Henry in the backfield. It'll be Aristine Henry on 1st down, right side, bounces off a couple of tacklers, then good pursuit by the Wolves, and he'll pick up just a short gainer on the play. In on the tackle for Cheyney, number 92, Sabree Anderson. He's a 6'3", 250-pound senior. Wes Settles up front at the other end. Jamar Banks and Robert Moore the tackles. Justin Evans, Mark Jones, Ralph Still the linebackers. Alan Parker, James Epps, Carlos Pasols, and Glenn Irby round out the defensive unit. Player down for Bloomsburg on the first series. Henry got just a couple. We'll give him 2 yards on the play and call it 2nd and 8. It'll be from the Cheyney 39-yard line. We have our first delay. 12:23 to go in the first quarter play. Robert B. Redmond Stadium. Glad you could join us. WCNR Sports, your home for college and high school football all season long. Bloomsburg University football this week. The Huskies facing Cheyney next Saturday night. You can hear the game at Saturday evening, a 6:30 kick or a 6:30 airtime, 7 o'clock kickoff from Farrell Stadium at Westchester as the Huskies take on the Golden Rams of Westchester University. So Bloomsburg, a player down. We'll check and see if we can get that number. May very well be Aristine Henry. Aristine Henry on his feet, being helped gingerly off the field by head trainer Joe Hazard. Marcus Glaze, 5'10", 195-pound junior, will replace him. Glaze, 31 carries, 188 yards, and 1 touchdown this season, an average of 6.1 per carry. So first play from scrimmage, Aristine Henry goes down. We'll check his status during the course of this first half, but Marcus Glaze goes into the backfield for Bloomsburg. The Huskies will have a 2nd and 8 at the Cheyney 39-yard line when we get back underway here. Early first quarter play, no score. Bloomsburg gets first possession. Terrell Johnson comes wide to the left side. Mike Lelko is inside him to the left. Doug Werner is in the slot to the left side. It'll be Marcus Glaze inside the 40 and down near the 35-yard line. Linebacker Mark Jones on the tackle. He's a junior, 6'2", 225. Another one of those good linebackers. They've had a good first 2 games along with Alan Parker on the tackle. So Marcus Glaze on his first carry gets it to the 36. Give him 3. They'll bring up 3rd and 5 for the Huskies from the Cheyney 36.
Jones showed great anticipation on that play. He just exploded to the perimeter and met the ball carrier head up.
Terrell Johnson wide to the left, wide to the right. Mike Lelko goes along. Number 12, Marcus Glaze is in the slot. Miller rolls to his right to pass and throws it a little behind Glaze, and it'll go incomplete. Carlos Pasols right there, and he leads the Wolves with 3 interceptions, and indeed the PSAC with the 3 interceptions. So Pasols right there, but the pass a little bit behind Glaze. Bring up 4th and 5 for the Huskies from the Cheyney 36-yard line. So we'll see what Coach Danny Hale wants to do here. Sends a couple more folks in the ball game. I don't believe the Huskies will punt the football away. Johnson will go wide right. Lelko will go along. Rocco Forgione on this left side by himself. Miller's at a shotgun along with Glaze. Plenty of time. Has it over the middle, and flags fly. And we'll see what happens. Mike Lelko was mugged, if you will. Justin Evans, number 18, on the play, and we'll check the flag. It actually is on the far side of the field. Huskies felt they were held up. No, the case. Motion against Bloomsburg. The penalty is declined. Pass was incomplete, and the Huskies turn it over on down. So 1st and 10 from the Wolves. It'll be right at their 36-yard line. A lot of bumping and grinding going on in that secondary, Tony. The Huskies thought there was interference or holding.
Well, it looked like they just got their feet tangled up a little bit, but Coach Monas thought that they could really sprint throw on this team because of the inside pressure they bring, and I think you're going to see a lot more of it.
Smith and Chestnut go wide to the left side. Phil Ray is the fullback in the eye. Kenyard Edward is the tailback dotting that eye. Edward will get the call right side, not a lot doing. Matt Keys, number 52, right there. 18 tackles in the first couple of ball games for the Huskies. He makes another one right there.
Kind of a basic isolation play with fullback leading, and they run it to the tight end side the times they did run it. So it's not really going to fool anybody. They're just trying to establish some type of a running game so they can open it up to their throwing game.
The news might be with this Cheyney offense that there is a tight end side.
Exactly.
Trips to the left side now. Kenyard Edward, the lone running back behind Chris Waiters. Wolves 2nd and 8 from their own 38. He'll get the toss left side, has some room, and picks up some yardage, and almost breaks it. Gets out near midfield, just down on one knee, and actually bounces up very quickly. He wants to keep right on running.
That was some nice blocking by their trip formation. Their 3 wide receivers out there. They just did kind of seal block. They didn't knock anybody down, but they faced up on the defenders and allowed the running back to find his lane to run.
Trent Flick, the free safety, finally corralled Edward, but not until he had picked up 11 yards and a Cheyney first down. 1st and 10 for the Wolves at their own 49-yard line, 10:38 and counting. First quarter play from Robert B. Redmond Stadium. Smith now comes wide right. Chestnut follows him. Russ Sanders follows him. Trips to the right. Edward, the lone running back behind Waiters. First and 10 for the Wolves from their 49. On the delay to Edward, has some room, flags fly, holding territory. I think this one's going to come back. Jeremiah Dyer and Trent Flick wrapped up Edward, but hold the bus. There's a flag in the Wolves' backfield.
Number 63, Rashad Holloway, had his arms up. He knew he had a hold. He grabbed a little bit of jersey and a little bit of pants, and
hey, you got to respect the kid. He held his hand up and said, yeah, I did it. At least he took credit for what he did, holding against the Wolves.
He surrendered immediately.
So that'll be a mark-off from the backfield. Edward with a nice gain again into the Husky secondary near the first down sticks. Not to be. The mark-off will come off from the 45. Remember, the line of scrimmage was the 49. So they'll lose 14 yards on this walk-off, and it'll bring up first and 24. And it'll be from the Cheyney Wolves 35-yard line. So a big walk-off of 14 yards. And it'll be first and 24 for the Wolves of Cheyney.
This is the widest formation they're showing. Trips one side, split end on the other.
My math, according to, there they got it. See, I was right. The scoreboard followed me. They had first and 19. First and 24 for the Wolves of Cheyney from their own 35-yard line. Receivers all over the place, which is what we expected. Trips to the right, lone receiver to the left side. Waiters back to pass, dumps it to Kenyon Edward out of the backfield, and a short gain. Good pursuit by the Huskies of Bloomsburg. Rudy Garcia coming up from the secondary along with Brian Sims. Sims, a 6'4", 245, or 6 foot, 245-pound senior out of Downingtown. Good pursuit. He's a good and up front for the Huskies.
Good mix on the coverages now. Bloom sat in a zone coverage that time, so the receivers weren't running them off in the man coverage. And when that screen started to develop, they already had people in position to make the plays.
Waiters to Edward for 6 yards. Second and 18 for the Wolves from their own 41-yard line. Now back split behind Waiters. Looks to his right, looks, can't find Chestnut. Now under pressure, and he'll go down in the backfield. 93, Jim Lanigan buried the quarterback, Chris Waiters. So good job by the Huskies defensive front, and a good job in the secondary. They actually only had 2 receivers to watch that time. Waiters will go down at the 34-yard line. A loss of 7 on the play. Brings up third and officially a mile. Tony, once it gets to 25 yards, I call it a mile. Third and 25 for the Wolves from their own 34-yard line. Good job defensively by Lanigan and his mates up front.
Yeah, they showed a lot of quickness that time. They actually beat Cheyney off the ball.
Smith, Chestnut go wide to the left, Sanders wide to the right, Edward the lone back, Vernon Davis in the slot, and now Chris Waiters decided he wanted the football, and the center for the Wolves of Cheyney, Prentice Cottrell, said no. And when your center and your quarterback are not on the same page, that means illegal procedure, and that's exactly what the Wolves will get flagged for. Third down now and 30 for the Wolves of Cheyney. The ball back on their own 29-yard line. So they're going the wrong direction right now. That time, Waiters and Cottrell not on the same page. Snap never happened.
This is a good down now for Bloomsburg to bring a little pressure and play a nice, soft, deep zone and anticipate a throw and possibly a pickoff.
Smith wide to the left. Chestnut goes along with them to the left. Russ Sanders is wide to the right. Teron Davenport's the tight end in the set. Edward, lone running back. Waiters back to pass. The pressure comes, and it's incomplete for Fred Smith on that far side coming back to the football. On the coverage was 47, Jason Noble. Noble, a 6'4", 198-pound sophomore from Chesapeake, Virginia. So incomplete pass, and the Wolves of Cheyney will punt it away again. 4th and 30 they face from their own 29-yard line.
Bloomsburg ran a little line stunt with 3 down linemen, was very effective.
Back deep for the Huskies of Bloomsburg, Kurt Leakey, a freshman, along with Toye Berry. John Chestnut, the punter for Cheyney. Berry and Leakey standing about their 40-yard line. It'll be a low line drive, take a Cheyney bounce, and Toye Berry will get out of the way, and the Wolves will benefit from that bounce. It'll roll dead inside the Bloomsburg 30 down near the 27-yard line. So Bloomsburg will have it for the second time today. On the first one, the Huskies turned it over on downs after good field position at the Cheyney 41. They could only get a couple of yards. Bloomsburg now has it 1st and 10, and we'll call it the Bloomsburg 27-yard line. 7:51 to go. First quarter of play from Robert B. Redmond Stadium. Mike Loco goes wide right. Terrell Johnson wide to the left. Doug Werner's the fullback in the eye. Marcus Glaze still in there for Aristine Henry. Miller back to pass, has some time now. He'll tuck it, run, has plenty of room. Out over the 40. Midfield, the 45 at Cheyney, the 40, and run down from behind, but not until he gets inside the 35-yard line of Cheyney. Glenn Irby, the free safety, finally runs down Eric Miller, but he picks up a whole bunch of yardage on the play.
That's one of the things that will really hurt you in man coverage when you're running with the receivers and your secondary is 30 yards off the ball. Eric Miller saw nothing but green in front of him.
39 yards on the carry for Eric Miller. 1st and 10 for the Huskies at the Cheyney 34-yard line. Johnson goes wide right. Loco follows him inside to the right. Brian Sullivan, the tight end, now shifts from the left side to the right. Backs in the eye will be Marcus Glaze right side, and he'll pick up a couple down near the 30. Mark Jones on the tackle for the Cheyney Wolves. The Huskies of Bloomsburg, a big first down rush by Eric Miller, and Bloomsburg's deep in Cheyney territory, now inside the 30 at the 29. Give Glaze 5 on the carry.
That's definitely a running formation there. When he bounces his tight end over there, it puts him in an unbalanced.
Terrell Johnson goes wide right. Mike Loco again to the right side. Again, Brian Sullivan goes to that unbalanced line to the right side. Glaze dots the eye at the tailback. They'll go right again. Marcus Glaze this time bounces outside the tackle and gets down near the 27. Again, Mark Jones along with help from Glenn Irby on the stop. So, Tony, you said when they send that tight end over there for the unbalance, they're probably gone that way. They did it again.
Correct. They're already in a slot formation. They have a split end out there, and then they bounce the tight end over. And if Cheyney doesn't bounce down to that, adjust to it, they have a running lane that it's going to be very difficult for Cheyney to stop them.
3rd and 3 for the Huskies from the Cheyney 27. Now the PSAC's #1 defense from the Wolves of Cheyney will be tested. Miller rolls to his left, quick hitter to Mike Loco at the 20, inside the 20-yard line and down near the 15 before he's pushed out of bounds by Alan Parker. But it's Eric Miller to Mike Loco on the reception, and boy, you'll probably see that a lot more today. They move the chains again, this time to the 14-yard line, 13 yards on the play, and the Huskies will go right to the line of scrimmage from the Cheyney 14. Loco's wide right. Johnson split out to the left side. Backs in the eye behind quarterback Eric Miller. On the delay to Glaze, has some room inside the 10 and the 5, and drugged down from behind by Alan Parker. A touchdown-saving tackle by Parker, or the Huskies are on the board.
Now, the Huskies are moving rather quick, and they have Cheyney on their heels. They can call just about anything they want to right now. Cheyney's heads are down. 1st
and goal at the Cheyney 3. The Huskies again with no huddle. Loco wide left. Backs are in the eye for Bloomsburg behind quarterback Eric Miller. Alan Lextaler is the tight end to the right side. That's the way they'll go with Glaze, and he'll go into the end zone for a touchdown standing up. Marcus Glaze, 3 yards, and Bloomsburg's on the board first.
I think he could have ran any play in his playbook at that point, because you could just see the Cheyney players with their heads down, and you can't believe they're being pushed around a little bit here.
Marcus Glaze, 3 yards behind that right side of the offensive line. Alan Lextaler, the tight end, Jeff Smith, and Manny Henry, the tackle and the guard, and they made a huge hole. Chris Thompson on to attempt the extra point. Bloomsburg on top, 6-0, looking to add the extra point. The snap's low, they get it down, the kick is up, and the kick is good. 5:38 left in the first quarter play. Bloomsburg 7, Cheyney 0. We'll be back after this 30-second break.
Berrigan Sub Shop at 150 East Main Street in Bloomsburg is a proud sponsor of Husky Football 2000. Berrigan's
Thanks, Dave. Right here, 6 plays, 73 yards, a 3-yard run by Marcus Glaze. 2:13 is all it took the Huskies on that drive, and they're on top in this one, 7-0. kicking off. Zach Quigley for the Huskies. High and deep. It'll push the Cheyney receiver, number 22, LaDonte Bell, back to his 5, and he'll come out over the 15. Huskies say fumble on the play, and they say they have it. Hold it right here. The officials, no signal yet. Bloomsburg says they have the football, and no. Referee says the Wolves of Cheyney will hold on to it, so almost a big play on our first turnover of the ball game. Again, not great field position on that kickoff. We'll call it the Cheyney 17-yard line, but Bloomsburg already leading 7-0 in this ball game, wanted that turnover, didn't get it.
We'll see how patient now Cheyney's coaching staff is about not wanting to throw the ball up.
Smith goes wide to the left, Chestnut wide right. Lone running back now, double tight ends, Kenyard Edward, the lone running back behind quarterback Chris Waiters. Huskies inching up toward the line of scrimmage, giving them a different look. Now it'll be Edward, and he'll run into a whole bunch of maroon jerseys in a hurry. So, boy, if you want to talk about the ranch being all in one spot, everybody on the Huskies ranch was within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and Edward ran into a lot of maroon jerseys.
And that was the 7 or 8 men in the box defense where they just attacked the line of scrimmage.
I'll tell you what, when they start sneaking up there, it looks like a heck of a lot more than 7 or 8. 1 yard for Edward, 2nd and 9 now from the Cheyney 18-yard line. 4:56 to go in this first quarter play. Bloomsburg on top, 7-0. Double receivers, twins to this right side. Waiters can't find anybody and has to throw it away, and did a good job of doing that. Good pressure coming from the Huskies. 55, Mike Bolinsky, and Dwayne Davis, number 97, providing that pressure. So the pass goes incomplete. So far in this ball game, Tony, the Bloomsburg front guys playing very, very well.
Yeah, and this is another group of players that we have in here. This looks like the second defensive line that's in here that's putting a lot of pressure, the same type of pressure the first few series.
Well, we talked about Danny Hale wanting to use some people. He's indeed doing that early. Smith, Chestnut, Sanders. Now trips to the right side, Edward, the lone running back behind Waiters. Long count, Huskies jump, flag, fly, and the play won't get gone. Hold it here.
Looks more like motion, Jim.
Might indeed have been. The Huskies were jumping around, and one of those Cheyney linemen might have stood up a little bit. So hold it here and see who caused the action. Indeed, illegal procedure against the Wolves.
Well, that's a freshman down lineman that, start getting a little jittery when you have a couple seniors across from you that have played a few more games than them.
3rd and 14 now for the Wolves on their own 13-yard line. Might be a good time, Tony, to send the crew after them a little bit. You've got them deep in their own territory. Good time for a lot of pressure.
One of the nice things about it, though, Jimmy, he's doing a lot of line stunning that is not sacrificing his linebackers.
Trips to the right side again, Edward, the lone running back. Waiters on the delay to Edward, has some room, gets into the secondary, but had a long way to go. Jeremiah Dyer on the tackle for the Huskies, but Kenyard Edward picked it up out to the 22, a gain of 9. They needed more than that. It'll bring up 4th and 5 now from the Cheyney 22-yard line. The Wolves will punt it for the 3rd time this afternoon.
They look awful tentative offensively, Cheyney.
Kurt Leakey and Toye Berry back deep, standing just in Bloomsburg territory. Leakey at the 49, Berry at the 48. John Chestnut's the punter. Last snap was a little bit low, and he got it off. This one is perfect, and he gets it off again. Big rush. Low liner will take a Cheyney bounce. It'll be Berry at the 45, inside the 40, the 35, the 30, the 25, and a big return by Toye Berry. So when Cheyney was lulled to sleep, when that ball hit the ground, Toye Berry came up, picked it up on the bounce, and took off with it. He gives the Huskies great field position.
Yeah, their coverage team couldn't get downfield quick enough. It was such a low kick that it was fielded on one bounce, and he caught that on a dead run.
Toye Berry on one bounce, picks it up in Cheyney territory, returns it to the Cheyney 21. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Huskies at the Cheyney 21-yard line. Gotta love the field position. 3:50 to go. First quarter play. Bloomsburg already on top, 7-0. Sullivan, the tight end to the left side. Terrell Johnson and Loco, the receivers to the left side. Marcus Glaze dots the eye at the tailback. He'll get the call on the right side and is cut down about the 15-yard line. Mark Jones again. Very, very active middle linebacker. The junior 6'2", 225 pounds, cuts down Marcus Glaze when it looked like he had a little bit of daylight. Glaze will get the 15-yard line, a gain of 6, 2nd and 4.
Manny Henry and Jeff Smith are doing an awesome job on the right side of that line, just moving people off the ball.
Johnson now wide right, Loco wide to the left, backs in the eye behind quarterback Eric Miller. Sullivan's the tight end to the left side again. Miller will roll to his left, looking for Loco in the end zone, and bumped there and overthrown slightly. Alan Parker doing a good job in the secondary for the Wolves of Cheyney. The pass will go incomplete.
Nice protection again. They're still running that little bit of a sprint, soft roll action, and making the corners of Cheyney commit to what they're going to do defensively.
3rd and 4 from the Cheyney 15-yard line. 3:07 to go in this first quarter of play. Bloomsburg on top, 7-0, looking for more. Johnson wide right, Loco wide left, backs in the eye behind quarterback Eric Miller. Cheyney showing blitz. Wolves jumping around, long count out of Miller. Be Glaze on the delay inside the 10 and down near the 5-yard line, and they'll pick up the first down.
Nice blocking up front. They're just moving people off the ball.
Free safety Glenn Irby and linebacker Ralph still on the stop. A big hole for Marcus Glaze. The play goes all the way to the Cheyney 5. 10 yards for Marcus. 1st and goal for the Huskies at the Cheyney 5.
I'll look for a fade over here with Loco. He's got a lot of room to work on this side of the field.
Over here, the left side for the Huskies of Bloomsburg is Mike Loco. Cheyney again jumping around. Terrell Johnson, the lone receiver to the right. Indeed, Miller rolls that way, has Mike Loco, and has a Bloomsburg touchdown. Eric Miller to Mike Loco, 5 yards, and Bloomsburg adds to their lead.
It wasn't a fade, but he gave him enough running room and enough room to work with out there. And running that little bit of a sprint when they're in man coverage gives Miller all the time in the world to throw the ball.
Had it and connected. All the time is that he had it, and indeed it was a good call. Tony Giovino, Eric Miller to Mike Loco, 5 yards, and Bloomsburg has the lead. Chris Thompson on to attempt the extra point. The snap's a good one. The kick is up, and the kick is good. With the score, Huskies of Bloomsburg 14, the Wolves of Cheyney nothing. 2:44 to go first quarter. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Right here, 4 plays, 21 yards. Eric Miller to Mike Loco on the touchdown pass. 2:44 still to go in the first quarter of play, and Bloomsburg on top in this one, 14-0. Tony, Manny Henry, Jeff Smith on that right side of the line. You're very, very impressed right now.
Very impressed. They can block anyone, man, one-on-one. But now they're starting to team up a little bit. They're doing some slip blocking too.
Alan Parker on the return from his 2 will try the wide side of the field, and again may not get back to the 20 marker. So after Bloomsburg kicks the football off, believe it or not, the 21-yard line for Cheyney is the Wolves' best field position of the afternoon.
Nice coverage on the special teams too. They're staying real disciplined in their lanes. They're not overrunning the football, and the ball seems to be coming back to them. So it was a real nice play by number 40 here, Derek Williams. Made a nice angle pursuit, and it was an easy tackle for him, really.
Player down for the Wolves of Cheyney. We're not sure who that is, but we've got a delay, and we'll take a timeout. 14-0 Bloomsburg on top. 2:35 to go first quarter. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Antoine Graham was the player down for Cheyney. He's been helped off the field. The Wolves have it 1st and 10 at their own 21. They trail in this one 14-0. Backs in the eye behind a new quarterback now. Russ Sanders is the quarterback for Cheyney, and he'll pitch it to Kenyard Edwards on the play.
Now Coach Paul Zera has to dig back to the first game of the season. They come out and run an option.
Greg Roskus and Jeremiah Dyer on the tackle for Bloomsburg. So Russ Sanders now the quarterback, and indeed it was an option. We'll give him the 22-yard line, 1 yard for Edwards. 2nd and 9 for the Wolves coming from their own 22-yard line.
They just can't get anything going offensively, and I think it has a lot to do with how quick Bloomsburg is getting off the ball.
A flag flies before they come out of it. This is going to be an illegal substitution,
Correct.
Tony.
Correct.
They had too many guys in the huddle. He didn't get off fast enough, and you can't do that. So, illegal substitution against the Wolves, and what was bad gets worse. A lot of penalties in this first quarter for the Wolves of Cheyney. The ball will move back inside the 20.
One of the things that Bloomsburg has to maintain right now is their intensity, because you know how explosive Cheyney can get. If they break a play, then they're back in the ballgame. You want to keep them on their heels right now.
Second and 14 now for the Wolves from their own 17-yard line. Now Edward goes out of the I position into the slot. Waiters, the quarterback again, back to pass, has a man, Fred Smith, on that far side. So Chris Waiters connects with his favorite receiver, Greg Roskus, and Junie Barnett on the tackle, but it's Waiters to Smith on the reception, and the ball will go out over the 25. We'll call it the 26. So 9 yards on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and 5 for the Wolves from their own 26-yard line.
It creates a little mismatch there when Roskus has to cover any of the running backs, because these running backs can outright fly.
Sanders and Smith go wide to the left, Chestnut wide right. This time LaDonte Bell is the tailback. He goes out in the slot, gets set. Chris Waiters lets it fly. He'll go for all of it. And a good job in coverage back there by Bloomsburg's number 49, Luke Murray. So a good job in the secondary for the Huskies of Bloomsburg.
Appears that was a holding, or they called it roughing the passer.
So we didn't see that one, followed the flight of the ball, and the Huskies are going to get flagged for roughing the passer. So wipe out that incomplete pass. Give the Wolves a 1st and 10 on this play. Going to be a big mark-off against the Huskies, a 15 yards, a roughing call. And Cheyney's drive is going to stay alive.
This is what Bloomsburg does not need right now. They don't need to relax. They need to keep constant pressure, no mistakes, and they can really put this team in a hole.
So the roughing the passer penalty moves the ball all the way to the Cheyney 42-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Wolves of Cheyney. 1:44 to go in this first quarter play. Bloomsburg on top, 14-0. Lone receiver to the right side is Sanders. Chestnut and Smith wide to the right. It'll be Kenyard Edward left side, and he'll get a couple of yards out near the 45-yard line. So, Tony, you talked about panicking when you fall behind. It doesn't appear that the Wolves have really done that to this point. They're still content to run it.
And they still haven't really done anything extraordinary. They get a break on a penalty here to move the chains, but basically they've been playing between the 20 and 30-yard line.
4 yards for Edward. 2nd and 6 for the Wolves from their own 46-yard line. Backs in the eye now. Edward will get the call, and he'll run into a wall. Forget that one. Boy, oh boy, the Huskies were there en masse. Greg Roskus, among others, that middle or one of those linebackers, and Edward wasn't going very far.
Well, whenever they get in that high formation, try to run the isolation to their tight end side, it's a definite key for Bloomsburg, and they're just feeding right into that hole.
Call it no gain on the play. 3rd and 6 now for the Wolves from their own 46-yard line. 45 seconds and counting in this first quarter play. Bloomsburg's had the better of it. LaDonte Bell now wide left. Smith and John Chestnut split out to the right side. Lone running back behind Waiters is Russ Sanders, and they'll dump it off to Sanders in the backfield over the 45 and out near midfield, still on his feet, and nailed. Right at the 50-yard line, absolutely leveled by Matt Keys, was LaDonte Bell.
Yeah, it's short of the first down, too. They're going to have a 3rd and about 2 yards, 2.5 yards.
And if they mark it right at the 50, indeed 2 or 2.5 will be the hit. So 4 yards on the play. We'll call it 4th and 2 from actually back inside Cheyney territory at the 49. Officially midfield, but Cheyney thinking about this one. I'm not sure what the deal is. Chris Waiters looking over there to the coaching staff and waiting for the signal and checking his play clock and everything else. So now he's going to let it run down, and Chris Waiters going to burn a timeout, and so will we. Bloomsburg 14, Cheyney nothing. 23 seconds to go, first quarter play. We'll be back after this 30-second break. right here, 23 seconds to go first quarter, and following that timeout, Cheyney has decided they will punt the football away, apparently. 4th and 2 from their side of midfield. Chestnut in punt formation, Toye buried deep for the Huskies, and now we'll get another timeout for Cheyney. Not sure what they didn't like, but timeout Wolves. We went nowhere. 23 seconds to go first quarter play, 14-0 Bloomsburg. We'll be back after this 30-second break.
24-3, and also in the second quarter play, Wisconsin now leading Northwestern 16-7. Back to Jim.
Thanks, Dave. And after the second timeout in a row, the Wolves will punt. It'll be Toye buried as 23 out over the 25 and out near the 30-yard line, and then corralled there. Tony, the reason I have you alongside is I want you to explain why the Wolves of Cheyney would call 2 timeouts in a row and then punt the football.
I thought they were trying to set up a little short snap off the punt formation, and Bloomsburg wasn't giving them any opportunity to run the ball. And when he saw that there was no place to go, and I agree with you, why wouldn't they just line up in a punt formation? But apparently that was a design call from the sideline.
Okay, nonetheless, the Huskies have the football back. Jamison McLaughlin now is the fullback in front of Glaze in the eye behind quarterback Eric Miller. Huskies 1st and 10 from their 29. Some room on this left side. Out over the 35 and the 40-yard line goes Marcus Glaze. Jamison McLaughlin getting ahead of steam up. Out in front, Alan Parker and Carlos Pasold finally on the tackle, but a big gainer for Marcus Glaze. The chains will move again.
That was one of the plays that Coach Monas felt he can run. It's called a stretch play where the quarterback sprints to the end and waits for his tailback to get there. In that, they have the linebacker sealed off.
That'll do it for the first quarter play. With the score, the Huskies of Bloomsburg 14, the Wolves of Cheyney nothing. We'll be back after this 30-second break. In the first quarter for the Huskies of Bloomsburg, they have 14 points. The bad news is on the first play of the game, Aristine Henry, their tailback, went down. A contusion to his lower back is the report. He will be out for the remainder of today. The good news in that is he is expected to return next week, so you will not see or hear of Aristine Henry the rest of this afternoon. After that quarter change, Marcus Glaze on 1st and 10 for the Huskies of Bloomsburg. From their own 42, James Epps, a freshman corner, 5'9", 180 pounds, came up to make the tackle. Glaze out over the 45 to the 46. Give him 4, 2nd and 6.
That particular play, they ran away from the strength of the formation. They ran it back to the weak side. Was very effective for 5 yards.
47-yard line of Bloomsburg. 2nd and 5, actually, for the Huskies now. Terrell Johnson, Mike Loco wide right. It'll be Glaze. No, the fullback, Jamison McLaughlin, and into Cheyney territory. So Epps makes the tackle, but not before Jamison McLaughlin on his first carry of the afternoon gets it into Cheyney territory and moves the sticks all the way to the Cheyney 43-yard line.
A little fullback trap that time with Manny Henry trapping back, and just a tremendous blocker.
Cheyney 43-yard lines where the football is, 10 yards for Jamison McLaughlin on the carry. Terrell Johnson and Mike Lelko to this split to this right side, the near side again. McLaughlin and Glaze in the eye, and it'll be the end around to Terrell Johnson. Has some blocking out in front, and Sean Fluso. And a good job by Cheyney to stop what would have been a very, very big gainer on the play. Glenn Irby and James Epps came up to make the play, but it looked like Johnson had a lot of room to run.
Nice mix of play calling by Coach Monas. They really have Cheyney on their heels defensively. They come into the game leading the conference in defense, and they don't look really that sharp today, or Bloomsburg looks that good.
Terrell Johnson, 8 yards on the carry. 2nd and 2 for the Huskies from the Wolves' 35-yard line. Johnson and Mike Lelko go wide to the right side again. Backs McLaughlin and Glaze in the eye. It'll be Glaze off the right side, and down near the 30-yard line goes Marcus Glaze. Sabri Anderson, one of those tacklers on the play for the Wolves of Cheyney. The 30-yard line is where they'll spot it. 5 yards for Glaze. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. They move the chains again. The drive stays alive.
I'm not sure if Cheyney's recognizing that formation where they're running at unbalanced, and it's always away from Cheyney's bench where they really can't see it.
Johnson and Lelko now go to the left. Brian Sullivan's the tight end to the left side. Glaze dots the I. The Huskies will go left. Miller will roll that way, looking to pass. It has Terrell Johnson, and he'll get out of bounds. So Eric Miller on target to Terrell Johnson. Carlos Pasoles and Mark Jones ran him out of bounds over there, but the Huskies will pick up some good yardage on first down again.
Well, they saw it that time because that was the unbalance to the left to the Cheyney bench. So now they have to make the adjustment on the formation.
Goes to the 25-yard line, 5 yards on the play. 2nd and 5 for the Huskies at the Wolves' 25-yard line. Early second quarter of play from Robert B. Redmond Stadium. Bloomsburg on top of Cheyney, 14-0. Double receivers, that's Johnson and Loco, again to the right side. Backs are in the I. Sullivan's a tight end to the right. Miller will look right and go over the middle and just overthrow Mike Loco. Good coverage on the play by Cheyney's James Epps, and it'll bring up third down. I'm sorry, Tony, 3rd and 5 for the Huskies from the Wolves' 25-yard line. Bloomsburg already on top by 2 scores, looking for more. Loco and Johnson come wide right. Sullivan again, the tight end to this right side. Backs in the I behind Miller are McLaughlin and Glaze. Long count out of Eric Miller on the draw to Marcus Glaze, and he gets inside the 25-yard line and not much more. Good job defensively by Cheyney to come up very, very quickly. It'll go to the 22-yard line, give him 3. It'll bring up 4th and 2 for the Huskies from the Cheyney 23-yard line. So a 4th down call coming here for Bloomsburg. They will not kick and or punt the football. 4th and 2 for the Huskies from the Cheyney 23-yard line. Loco goes wide to the left. Brian Sullivan and Alan Lexthaler are the tight ends to the right side. Miller back to pass. Is wide open. Lexthaler, and he'll waltz into the end zone. Alan Lexthaler, the second tight end, broke from the line of scrimmage. Cheyney came up, and Alan Lexthaler was all by himself, and Bloomsburg adds to the lead.
They never even identified him as a wing. He lined up in a wing right next to the tight end, and he just popped the line of scrimmage, was standing there waiting for the ball.
So Alan Lexthaler, the tight end in that wing position, gets the pass from Eric Miller and still hasn't been touched. He was wide open, and Bloomsburg's on top 20-0 with a point to be added. The kick by Chris Thompson is blocked and will be no good, so that's where it'll stay. Bloomsburg 20, Cheyney nothing, exactly 12 minutes to go in the first half. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Here, 9 plays, 71 yards. Eric Miller, 22 yards to Alan Lexthaler. The time of the drive was 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and Bloomsburg leads the Wolves of Cheyney by a score of 20-0. Dante Bell is the deep man for Cheyney, awaiting Zach Quigley's kickoff. So Bloomsburg getting exactly what they wanted, a big lead on these Wolves of Cheyney early in the first half. Bell comes up and has to trap at about the 18, now out over the 20-yard, 25, and near the 30-yard line goes LaDante Bell. So Cheyney won't have bad field position, but the Wolves offense now has to answer. They've had a little bit of trouble in this first half with this Bloomsburg defensive unit, and they trail in this one 20-0.
Well, they certainly have to open it up right from the first play. They can't try to establish a running game now. They're down by 20 points. They need to get something on the board, get something going for their own confidence.
So John Smith Fred Smith and John Chestnut come wide to the left. Backs in the I behind quarterback Chris Waiters. Waiters was out of there briefly, and they went to an option. Now they're back to Waiters. Play action, has some time, airs it out, got his man, and off the hands of Fred Smith at about the Bloomsburg 27-yard line. So Chris Waiters aired it out. Smith had a step on Rudy Garcia and Trent Flick, and he just couldn't hang on to the football. One big play, and the Wolves were looking to get back in it.
Yeah, and they come out with a slot formation again and only send 3 people deep, or 2 people deep and 1 in the short zone. But Bloomsburg was setting in the zone.
Sanders wide right, Chestnut and Smith come wide to the left. 10-yard Edward, the lone running back behind Waiters. Again, back to pass, quick drop, quick hitter to Sanders, and he'll get the sticks on the far side, I believe. So a successful passing play, Waiters to Russ Sanders. Greg Roskus on the tackle along with Junie Barnett. But Cheyney will move the sticks. We'll call it the Wolves' 42-yard line, a gain of 11, 1st and 10.
I think Bloomsburg's content to give them something short there. They're going to move the chains occasionally here, but they just don't want to get beat deep. They don't want any big plays against them.
Same set again. Sanders right, Chestnut and Smith left. 10-yard Edward, the lone running back. Waiters again. Quick drop. This time he comes last, and one of those linemen got a paw on it. Some real pressure out of 97, Dwayne Davis, and 72, Brian Sims. Not sure which one got it up there, Tony, but I think it was knocked down by one of those linemen.
Well, they're coming in good position. They're in excellent athletic position that they can make a play. They're getting their hands up. They're fending off the blockers. And actually, the offensive line of Cheyney is trying to cut block. They're trying to get their hands down.
2nd and 10 for the Wolves from their own 42-yard line, sticking with this set. Twins to the left side. Russ Sanders, the lone receiver, to the right side. Waiters back to pass. Deeper drop this time. He'll go on the screen to Edward over the 45 in midfield and into Bloomsburg territory. Finally dragged down by Toye Berry. Chris Waiters on the mark to Edward, and Cheyney moves the sticks again.
Getting up slow. We have 2 people limping around.
16 yards on the pass play. 1st and 10 for the Wolves. Now it'll come from inside the Bloomsburg 43. We'll call it the 42-yard line. 11:08 to go in the first half of play. Bloomsburg 20, Cheyney nothing. LaDonte Bell goes wide to the right side now. Twins again to this left side. Smith and Chestnut. Edward, the lone running back. Waiters, quick drop, quick hitter again. This time Smith off his hands and picked off. Rudy Garcia hit Fred Smith in the hands, off his hands, and Rudy Garcia goes to the turf and comes up with the interception. So the first turnover of the ball game goes to the Huskies of Bloomsburg via the interception by Rudy Garcia, and Bloomsburg stops the Cheyney drive. The Wolves moving the football there, but the turnover jumps up and bites them.
That's some of those little short slants when you throw them and they get bobbled around a little bit. The defense really is in position to make an interception.
1st and 10 for the Huskies now from their 35-yard line. So Waiters had Smith, threw it maybe just a little bit too hard. The receiver couldn't come up with it. Rudy Garcia did. Now on the delay to Marcus Blaze, right side with Fluso out in front. Big hole again. And out near midfield, Alan Parker finally drags him down, but another first down for the Huskies of Bloomsburg.
That was the Washington Redskins counter tray where they're pulling the guard and tackle from the left side, and the right side, the line is blocking back towards the ball and just created a huge hole. 1st and 10 for the Huskies, their own 48-yard line. 13 yards for Marcus Glaze. 1st and 10, Bloomsburg looking for more. They already lead 20-0. Johnson and Loco wide left, backs in the eye. It'll be Glaze off the left side. This time he's met and dragged down Sabree Anderson on the tackle for the Wolves of Cheyney, but the Huskies of Bloomsburg again in Cheyney territory now at the Wolves' 49-yard line, 3 yards for Marcus Glaze. Well, Cheyney doesn't need to be pushed around like this, and they're certainly, Bloomsburg's had its own way from the first series.
2nd and 7 for the Huskies in Cheyney territory. Johnson wide left, Loco wide to the right. Doug Werner's the fullback in the eye. Marcus lays the tail. Miller play action over the middle. Lets it fly for Alan Lextaylor, the tight end, and Mike Loco tripped up on this right side. I believe we're going to have a hold or a pass interference against the Wolves of Cheyney.
It appeared Justin Evans tackled him well before he had the ball. There was the ball even got near him.
Indeed, hold is the call against the Wolves of Cheyney. So Mike Loco can catch just about anything you throw him, but he's not going to do it from the ground, and Justin Evans made sure of that, and he got flagged for it. So the walk-off will go to the Cheyney 40, make it the 38-yard line. A little bit of longer steps by the umpire. So holding against the Wolves, 10 yards. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Huskies from the Cheyney 38-yard line. And Bloomsburg on the verge of maybe putting this one away early this afternoon. They already lead 20-0 and looking for more. Play action again. Miller will go for all of it. He has Terrell Johnson behind the defender. And James Epps comes back and just gets a paw on it and knocks it down. So Epps recovered because Johnson indeed had him beat, and it was going to be 6.
I'm not so sure, Jim, that wind's not affecting that ball. because it looked like it hung there. It got behind the receiver. He had a good head of steam going on him, and he could have outran the defender, but the ball just kind of hung up there.
Incomplete pass brings up a 2nd and 10 from the Cheyney 38-yard line. Boy, Terrell Johnson had him beat. James Epps made up some territory in a hurry. Trips to the right side now, and Alan Lextaler, the tight end of the left, goes in motion, and that one's not allowed.
No, they won't let that happen.
Illegal procedure against the Huskies, and it'll walk off 5. Will make it 2nd and 15 now. Put it back at the Cheyney 43-yard line. 9:43 to go in this first half of play. Bloomsburg 20, the Wolves of Cheyney nothing. Big game for the Huskies. A tough schedule facing them over the next few weeks. Next Saturday night, they go to Westchester, followed by Indiana, East Stroudsburg, Mansfield, Millersville, Kutztown, and Slippery Rock. A bunch of teams that dot the Division II national rankings. Trips to the right side now. 2nd and 15 for the Huskies. Miller back to pass. He'll go for all of it to Mike Loco, and a good job defensively by Cheyney's Alan Parker. Did not let Loco get behind him. The pass will go incomplete.
Well, Cheyney really softened their defense that time. They went right into a zone coverage and were sitting well back. They don't want to get beat deep now.
Talk about the Northeast regional rankings. Indiana's number 1, Slippery Rock's number 3, East Stroudsburg's number 6, Millersville's number 8. They are all on the schedule ahead for the Huskies of Bloomsburg. That's why we say this is an important game. Terrell Johnson and Loco now split to the right. Rocco Forgione to the left. Miller has some time. He has Johnson, and a good job again defensively by the Wolves of Cheyney. Glenn Irby almost got a hand on it. James up there steps for step with Terrell Johnson. The pass will go incomplete, and the punt unit will come on for the Huskies.
That was a good series by Cheyney defensively. They mixed their coverages up real well on that particular series.
Needed it. If you're going to have something to spark you, you need some kind of spark, and maybe that defensive unit for Cheyney. Now Bloomsburg on the punt, and the punter, number 3, Joe Dietrich, drops the football and almost picks up the first down. So what could have been disastrous for the Huskies, and a flag flies behind the play by Joe Dietrich. So Dietrich on the rush, he did not intend to do that, but he dropped the snap and then had to take off with the football. He got all the way to the Cheyney 38, and the penalty will go against Bloomsburg, so there's going to be a walk-off after the play, and I think it's probably going to be a big one.
It's personal foul. Couldn't see actually what happened over there, but
so Joe Dietrich drops the football, has to take off and run with it, did a good job that way, but then one of the Huskies flagged for a personal foul, and Cheyney's going to start this drive in Bloomsburg territory. So the Wolves will have their best field position of the afternoon to start a drive. We'll call it inside the 49, call it the Bloomsburg 48-yard line. 9:22 to go in this first half of play. Bloomsburg on top 20-0. Cheyney looking to get something going. This may be the place the Wolves want to do it. Tony, you talked about a good defensive series. Now the Wolves need a good offensive one.
Well, they do, and I believe this is the first time they got on the other side of the 50-yard line, Jim.
Teron Davenport and Fred Smith wide to the right. Vernon Davis and John Chestnut to the left. This is the 4 wide receiver set we expected. There are no running backs in the backfield. Actually 5 receivers. Ruff Sanders, the 5th one. Back to pass is Waiters, and throws it low and outside. It would have been ball 1. Intended for Teron Davenport. Jeremiah Dyer there on the coverage, but not a very good pass by the quarterback Waiters.
Nice pressure by the down people of Bloomsburg. As I mentioned it again, they're in a good athletic position. Their backs are leaned over, their nuts coming in straight up, and their hands are up in front of them. They know what they're doing up here.
So 2nd and 10 now for the Wolves of Cheyney. If they're going to take good advantage of this good field position, they've got to do it now. Again, 4 wide receivers and Sanders in the slot. So 5 receivers in the set, no running backs. Waiters back to pass, has some time, has his man Smith on the far side, and it looks like it's enough for the first down. So Chris Waiters all year long is like Fred Smith, and again, he's connected a couple of times today with Smith, and the Wolves will come right to the line of scrimmage. We'll call it the Bloomsburg 37-yard line. 11 yards on the play, 1st and 10, Wolves from the Bloomsburg 37. Again, 5 receivers in the set for the Wolves of Cheyney. Trips to the left side, twins to the right. Long count out of Waiters. Bloomsburg doesn't bite. Quick hitter, quick drop, and completed again. This time Teron Davenport. Greg Roskus and Jeremiah Dyer on the coverage. But Teron Davenport comes down with the catch. The play started at the 37, goes to the 31. Bloomsburg will burn a timeout, so will we. 8:49 to go, first half of play. Huskies 20, Wolves of Cheyney nothing. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Dave, thank you very much. Right here, the Wolves of Cheyney coming out in the sets we expected. No running backs in the backfield. So far, it's been successful on this drive. They have a 2nd and 4 at the Bloomsburg 31. Trips left, Twins right. Chris Waiters, the quarterback. No, now Russ Sanders, and he'll try to run the football. So they switched up quarterbacks on it. Brian Sims pressured him in a big way, and he'll be tackled for just a short gain on the play. Make it the 29 of Bloomsburg, 2 yards for Russ Sanders, who was in there at the quarterback spot. Now we see Chris Waiters coming back in. Bring up 3rd and 2 for the Wolves from the Bloomsburg 29.
Sanders is the running quarterback. There's no question there. He's the one that ran the option the first series he was in.
Stays in the game. He goes wide to the right side along with Vernon Davis. To this left side are Chestnut and Smith. Kenyard Edward, now the lone running back in the backfield. He'll get the call right side and pick up the first down near the Bloomsburg 25. So good job by the Wolves. They keep switching it up. And, Tony, this has got to be difficult. So many sets. Your offensive people better be paying attention to the coaching staff.
That's correct. You mean the Cheyney offense?
The Cheyney offense.
Definitely. They put in an awful. But you know what, Jim? There's a lot of repetition in their offense. If you notice, they really haven't run the ball wide. They're trying to feed the ball up inside to keep that defensive front honest.
Smith wide to the right side. We see Phil Ray now in there at a back position. They're split behind quarterback Waiters. John Chestnut to the left side. Waiters will go for all of it to Smith on that right side and overthrows him by a mile. So incomplete pass on the play, and it'll be up 2nd and 10. Luke Murray on the coverage for the Huskies. But, Tony, again, you go back, they got 4 wideouts. Then they got 2 receivers. There are 2 running backs. Then they got 1 running back. Then they have somebody in the slot. Moving around a lot like that, they better be paying attention to what their offensive coordinator's doing, even though there may be some common things going on.
Yeah, there's common things. There's common areas that these receivers are running to. You don't see anything going down the middle. Mostly hash mark sideline patterns.
2nd and 10 now for the Wolves of Cheyney from the Huskies' 26-yard line. Backs again split behind quarterback Chris Waiters. He's back to pass. Big pass rush coming. He gets it off to Phil Ray, and Ray is buried by Jeremiah Dyer. Greg Roskus on the pressure on quarterback Waiters. He was lucky to get it off, and if not, if you're Phil Ray, because when you catch that pass where he did, Jeremiah Dyer absolutely buried him back at the 29. A loss of 3 on the pass play brings up 3rd and 13 now to come from the Bloomsburg 29-yard line.
Oh, he sniffed that out beautiful. I had the opportunity of watching and calling some games with Jeremiah Dyer, and he's incredible. He gets from sideline to sideline in blazing speed.
Greg Roskus untouched coming at the quarterback. That couldn't be a healthy feeling for Chris Waiters. Now we're back to trips left, Twins right. Waiters back to pass, a lot of pressure, and he gets crushed again by the Huskies back there. This time coming Matt Keys was in there along with Aaron Bordis, and they absolutely buried Waiters, and he had to get it off in a hurry. Intended for Smith. It goes incomplete. 4th and 13 now from the Bloomsburg 29. I'm sure the Wolves will go. 6:46 to go in the first half of play. They trail already 20-0.
That's the first time Bloomsburg gets stunted this whole first half with any of their outside people, and they brought both the strong safety and the corner.
Sanders Davis wide to the right side. Chestnut Smith wide to the left side. Lone running back LaDonte Bell behind Waiters. He's back to pass, has some time, now tucks it. Try to run, gets hit once inside the 30, and then gets knocked down about the 27-yard line. So a good job, Brian Sims, finally running him down. But that's not exactly what he wanted to do. He didn't have a receiver open, and Chris Waiters had to take off with it.
His pocket didn't move very well. They had kind of stationary pocket, and he needed some protection out in front of him. Just didn't have enough blocking.
So the Wolves of Cheyney turn it over on downs. A good job by the Bloomsburg defensive unit to stop that drive. Cheyney had it for a while, and now Bloomsburg gets it back. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. The ball at their own 28-yard line. Backs in the eye. It'll be Glaze. Left side has some hole. Cuts it back up the middle. Out over the 35 and the 40 goes Marcus Glaze. So a good job by the Husky running back to change direction and cut it back to where they weren't, and he moves the sticks.
He needed a little bit more help with the umpire that time because he had a cutback lane. He had to run around the umpire. Otherwise, I think he could have broken up the sideline.
Goes all the way to the 43-yard line before John Patrick brings him down. 15 yards for Marcus Glaze. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. Backs in the eye. Receivers to the right side. It'll be Glaze right side into Cheyney territory. The 50 still on his feet, spins, and down near the 30 and inside the 30-yard line. Marcus Glaze finally drugged down by Justin Evans, but not before he picks up a huge gain into Cheyney territory.
Yeah, Cheyney does not recognize that formation. They're reading that as two wide receivers on this side, and that's a tight end formation. They're not even defending the tight end on this side.
The Huskies have run 3 plays in this drive. They have 3 first downs. It's the Cheyney 28. Marcus Glaze with 28 yards on the carry. This time it's Doug Werner, the fullback, and he picks up some nice yardage. So everybody getting in the act now. Glenn Irby, the free safety, forced to finally bring down Werner, but not before he picks up some nice yardage. The 5'10", 222-pound junior from Conrad Weiser doesn't get a lot of carries. He made the most of that one.
They like to touch the ball occasionally, and they make the most of it when they do.
2nd down now and 3 for the Huskies from the Cheyney 21. The unique story there is it's a 2nd down. They haven't had one yet in this drive. 3 plays, 3 first downs. Now it'll be Marcus Glaze, left side out of the eye. Werner out in front, and Glaze picks up some great yardage, and he'll get inside the Cheyney 5-yard line.
Taking about 4 tacklers with him.
Finally brought down by Justin Evans and Glenn Irby, but not before Marcus Glaze gets all the way down inside the Cheyney 5. We'll call it the 2-yard line. So 19 yards for Marcus Glaze first, and goal from the Cheyney 2. 5:08 and counting, first half of play. Bloomsburg trying to put this one away early. They already lead 20-0. Lelko goes wide to the left side. Sullivan and Lextaler, the tight ends this side. Lextaler again in the wing. It'll be Glaze standing up into the end zone for a Bloomsburg touchdown. Marcus Glaze 2 yards behind that right side, and Bloomsburg adds its lead.
Well, they come out with that same, using the tight end as a wing as they scored on the last play. And apparently they have a couple versions of running and throwing downs off that formation.
Chris Thompson will come on to attempt the extra point. 26-0 Bloomsburg already. Mike Lelko is the holder. Marcus Glaze scoring the 2-yard touchdown, his 2nd score of the afternoon. The kick is up, and the kick is good. With the score, Huskies 27, Cheyney nothing, 4:53 to go first half. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Well, and Andy Ulickney's game isn't any better than ours when it comes to score. Right here, we're 1 point shy of that. It's the Huskies of Bloomsburg 27, the Wolves of Cheyney nothing. 4:53 still to go in this first half. Zach Quigley will kick it off. Just 1:44 is all it took for that drive. 5 plays, 72 yards went to Huskies. LaDonte Bell about his own 18, out over the 20, cuts to the far sideline, 25 and 30 and 35-yard line goes LaDonte Bell. So the Wolves of Cheyney in real danger right now of getting blown out of this football game. Bloomsburg with a 4-touchdown lead right now. Cheyney has got to answer offensively if they're going to stay in this for any time period.
They can't let it get this far. They shouldn't have let it get this far out of hand, but give credit to the Bloomsburg defense, though. They wouldn't allow them. They're coming well prepared. Everybody's playing their positions real well.
1st and 10 for the Wolves from their own 37-yard line. We'll check the set here. It's been different all day long. Be Bell and Sanders wide to the left. Davis and Davenport wide to the left, I should say. The other 2 wide to the right. Edward, the lone running back, he'll get the call. Out over the 45 or 40-yard line goes Kenyard Edward, Jeremiah Dyer, and Matt Keys, 2 of those talented Husky linebackers on the tackle.
They ran a little bit of a draw series here. You catch Bloomsburg every once in a while in the line stunt, running it a little bit wider because they're trying to get good perimeter pressure, and you kind of concede to a play like that every once in a while.
2nd and 3 after the 7-yard gain by Edward from the Cheyney 44-yard line. Now trips to the left side. Edward, the lone running back behind quarterback Chris Waders. He'll get the toss, has some blocking out front. Good penetration by the Huskies of Bloomsburg, and he's run down there. Number 89, Fran Greger, 6 foot, 234-pound junior out of Downingtown, and Edward looked like he had some room to run, and Fran Greger made sure that wasn't the case in a real hurry.
That's nice coverage on there. They just sprint to the ball. The Bloomsburg secondary is reacting, almost anticipating the play, like they know what they're going to be running out of these formations.
Edward loses 1 play. Compliments of Fran Greger. 3rd and 4 now from the Cheyney 43-yard line. Davis and Russ Sanders wide to the left side. Chestnut and Smith wide to the right. It'll be draw to Edward. He'll pick up the first down and more into Bloomsburg territory. Goes Kenyard Edward. Finally, Matt Keys, the linebacker, on the tackle for the Huskies. But the play started at the 43. It'll go all the way to the Bloomsburg 44. 1st and 10, Wolves.
Again, running a draw. A little bit softer in the middle. But that's okay. You can let them run a little bit like this. But yeah, they're behind by 27 points. They can't run the ball on every down.
Edward for 13 yards. And 1st and 10 from the Bloomsburg 44-yard line. Again, 4 receivers in the set. Lone running back is Edward. Waders back to pass, looks to his right, now rolls that way. Now goes for a lot of it to Russ Sanders and almost comes up with a dandy catch. Trent Flick on the coverage for the Huskies of Bloomsburg. Sanders can't quite come down with it, goes incomplete.
Yeah, they ran a little hitch and go that time, but the hitch didn't fool anybody because he pulled out of it before the quarterback even pumped. It looks like we have a penalty here, too, Jim.
Yeah, a couple flags out there, and in the holding territory, and Cheyney's walking backwards. That indeed is what the penalty is. Holding against the Wolves. Play started at the Bloomsburg 44, so now we'll go back into Cheyney territory on the hold, and it'll go back to the Cheyney 46-yard line. So holding will cost the Wolves 10. It'll bring up 2nd and 20. Back now at the Cheyney 46-yard line.
Bloomsburg's quickness has definitely given Cheyney problems up front.
So Cheyney now trying to get on the scoreboard, backs up with the holding penalty. Wolves with 4 receivers again. A quick hitter inside to Sanders over the 50-yard line and into Bloomsburg territory. So those receivers switched on the outside. Matt Keys makes the tackle, but Tony Sanders started on the outside, cut inside the inside receiver, and picks up the reception.
It was a little bit of a pick play, pretty close to being an illegal play where the outside receiver actually was blocking because the ball was thrown across the line of scrimmage. You can do that behind the line of scrimmage. If the ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage, it's more of a screen, and they can block below the waist. They can block downfield.
2nd and 11 now from the Bloomsburg 45-yard line. Waders to Sanders, 9 yards. 4 receivers in the set again. Lone running back LaDonte Bell. Waders back to pass and had to get it off in a hurry. Almost picked off by Belinsky. Roskus buried him, and Waders isn't getting up. Now, a couple times today, Greg Roskus has had open shots at the quarterback Waders, Tony, and he's taken them. And, boy, he took one right there, and Chris Waders isn't getting up from this one.
You can just see that building up. He was getting some clean shots on the backside here, and it's all clean football. It's a collision.
Good job by number 55, Mike Belinsky, as well, the junior from Collegeville and Perkiomen Valley High School. Got a paw on that football and could have had an interception, but credit the quick pass by Chris Waders to Greg Roskus. He got in there in a hurry and just absolutely buried the Cheyney quarterback, and they're out there hovering over him right now. That was a 3rd down or a 2nd down play. The pass goes incomplete, and it'll bring up a 3rd down for the Wolves. Just 1:56 to go in this first half of play. It's been all Bloomsburg. Huskies on top in this one by a count of 27-0.
But for the most part, Jim, Waders has been just straight drop, a 3-step and let the ball go type offense. Chris
Waiters being helped off the field. The Cheyney quarterback was leveled on the last incomplete pass. So bring up a 3rd and 11 for the Wolves of Cheyney when play resumes. Russ Sanders, I assume, maybe Colin Smith. Number 1, Colin Smith, a sophomore, 5'8", 165, will be the new Cheyney quarterback. Sanders, one of those receivers in a 5-receiver set now. No running backs behind Colin Smith, so there's no doubt what he's going to do with the football when he gets it. Back to pass. Here comes the pressure again, and dumps it out dangerously out there. 52, Matt Keys, that he picked up his head, could have picked that pass off. Fran Greger and Greg Roskus bearing down on Colin Smith, so he got his welcome to the football game with those linebackers coming in. He knows what Chris Waiters went through for a while, but the pass will go incomplete. 4th and 11 for the Wolves from the Bloomsburg 45, and they'll punt the football away. John Chestnut on for the Wolves to punt it. Toye Berry standing at about the Bloomsburg 17-yard line, awaiting the Cheyney punt. Bloomsburg leads in this one 27-0. The Huskies try to get one more chance to get some points on the board before halftime. Good punt by Chestnut. Pushes Berry back inside his 10. I thought he touched the football. I guess not.
He appeared to just almost got off his...
He reached out for it, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked like it touched his fingertips a little bit. He got away with one there.
So Eli Johnson eventually covered it for the Wolves.
Everybody's asking him on the sideline, did you touch it?
How about it? How about it? More importantly, an anxious Danny Hale is asking, did you touch it? So Bloomsburg will get the football, and the officials decided that Toye didn't, and Bloomsburg will have it 1st and 10 at the Bloomsburg 9-yard line. 1:41 to go in the first half of play. Bloomsburg 27-0 over Cheyney. Backs in the eye behind quarterback Eric Miller, and now the umpire stops play, and somebody's going to take a timeout. It's going to be Cheyney. Timeout, Wolves. Bloomsburg leads at 27-0. We'll be back after this 30-second break.
Mississippi State leads South Carolina 12-10. Back to Jim.
Timeout. Number 32 for Bloomsburg now in there, Solomon Nelson. Nelson gets the call for the Huskies of Bloomsburg and gets a couple of yards out over the 10. We'll call it the 11, give him 2 on the play. 2nd and 8 for the Huskies from their own 11-yard line. More importantly, the clock in this long first half continues to run. Bloomsburg on top by a score of 27-0. Split wide to the left side is 18, Kurt Leakey. Then it'll be Nelson off this right side out over the 20 and the 30-yard line, and a big gainer for the Huskies of Bloomsburg. Mark Jones finally runs him down, but a big hole again on this right side, and all afternoon Manny Henry and Jeff Smith have created holes on the right side. They've done it again.
They run that stretch play again where the tailback takes the handoff deep off the end.
23 yards from Nelson on the play. 1st and 10 now from the Bloomsburg 34-yard line. Now it's a pass to Kurt Leakey out there from Miller. The pass is complete. A flag flies. So hold the bus. Alan Parker runs him out of bounds.
Not quite sure what he has out there. I don't know if you call the offense for pushing off.
Could very well be. Ineligible downfield, so not sure. Didn't see the set, Tony. They got to the line of scrimmage so long. I don't know if somebody was uncovered or what the deal was.
That's possible. That's coming from that formation where they're running it a little bit unbalanced, and the tight end could have released at that time.
So it'll be a mark-off against the Huskies. Wipe out the pass reception from Miller to Kurt Leakey. And I guess maybe an uncovered guy, the official explaining it to the Bloomsburg offensive staff. It'll go back to the 29-yard line, a loss of 5 on the penalty. That'll bring up 2nd and 15 from the Bloomsburg 29-yard line. Just 51 seconds left in this first half of play. It's been all Huskies. They lead 27-0. Rocco Forgione and Mike Lelko go wide to the left now. Leakey comes wide to this right side. Miller on the delay to Marcus Blaze. A lot of room out over the 35, the 40, the 45 midfield. He may go inside the 40, the 30, the 20, the 15, the 10, 5. Touchdown, Marcus Blaze. He goes the distance, 71 yards, and the Bloomsburg lead gets bigger. Oh, boy.
little sprint draw action. Had Cheyney sitting on their heels, but once again they run it to their favorite side, the Manny Henry and Smith side.
71 yards goes Marcus Glaze with 39 seconds to go in this first half, and the route is on. Bloomsburg's Marcus Glaze, his third touchdown of the afternoon, came in. Aristine Henry got hurt on the first play for the Huskies from scrimmage. Glaze has been marvelous as his replacement. Extra point attempt coming from Chris Thompson. The snap's a good one. The kick is up, and the kick is good. With the score, Bloomsburg 34, Cheyney nothing. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Right here, Marcus Glaze 71 yards, and the Huskies have added to their lead. They now lead at halftime, just before halftime, 34-0. 3 plays, 91 yards on the drive, 1:02 was the time of the drive. Marcus Glaze already a career high for rushing yards. He has 218 yards. We haven't gotten to halftime yet.
And Cheyney was giving up 218 yards.
Well, they've done it again. If they hold the Huskies with no yards the rest of the game, they'll maintain that defensive average. But Marcus Glaze just having an absolutely wonderful afternoon. Kickoff follows, and Cheyney will take it over 1st and 10. The Wolves will have it at their own 31-yard line with just 38 seconds to go in this first half of play. Colin Smith remains the quarterback for the Wolves of Cheyney. Backs are in the eye behind him, Phil Ray and 10-yard Edward. Smith went to hand it off to Phil Ray, and he didn't want anything to do with it. Mike Belinsky makes the tackle on Colin Smith. When he turned around, the fullback didn't take it. He was stuck with it himself. Go back to the 29, a loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 12 from the Cheyney 29-yard line. Inside of 20 seconds now to go in this first half of play. And mercifully for the Wolves of Cheyney, this one is going to come to an end, and they can get a break and go in and try to regroup a little bit.
That's one of the problems with a quarterback not getting enough reps in practice, where the timing is really off on the handoffs and just total collision between him and the fullback.
And that'll do it for the first half of play from Redmond Stadium. It has been all Bloomsburg. At halftime, the Huskies of Bloomsburg 34, the Wolves of Cheyney nothing. We'll be back with the first half wrap after this 60-second break. Of Cheyney, back deep for the Huskies of Bloomsburg. Kurt Leakey, he's standing at about the 15-yard line of Bloomsburg. The Huskies have this one well in hand. We're sure we'll see a lot of substitutions in this second half on the Bloomsburg sideline. Adzadu approaches it and shanks the kickoff, and it'll roll out of bounds at about the Bloomsburg 37 or 38-yard line. Flags fly, but you're not going to get much better field position than about right where that thing is. It goes out of bounds. So the ball will go to the 37-yard line. That'll be the spot. Huskies will have it 1st and 10, their own 37-yard line. We see the starting offensive unit going out there for Bloomsburg. I would imagine, Tony, they'll get about 1 series. Sometimes it's healthy. You get a chance to get them a rest. Sometimes it's not. They've had some tough ball games. Maybe today's a good day to do that.
I would say if they're sharp, they'll be in there for 1 series.
Terrell Johnson goes wide to the right. Mike Loco inside him. The backs are in the eye behind quarterback Eric Miller. Again, check the running back. And for Bloomsburg, now the running back is number 32, Solomon Melson. So they're going to switch up some folks on us. Mark Jones and Glenn Irby on the tackle, but Melson on the carry. First down goes right to midfield, 13 yards, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Huskies from midfield. So Marcus Glaze not in there. He may very well be getting a rest already for the rest of the afternoon.
Well, even offensively, Bloomsburg is out-quicking Cheyney.
Nelson again, left side, has a hole inside the 45, the 40, flags fly. Nelson's going to go the distance for a Bloomsburg touchdown, but the flag lying all the way back here at midfield, and I believe it's going to be an illegal block or a hold against the Huskies, so hold it right there. Nelson went 50 yards, and the Bloomsburg lead quickly would have been up to 40, but I think this one's going to come all the way back, indeed holding against the Huskies. So it was a beautiful run. Solomon Melson, once he got in the open, was gone immediately, but all for naught, it's coming back.
Well, you know, Cheyney came into this game with the reputation, as they always have, of being super quick. And if I'm seeing something different here, Bloomsburg has outquicked them. I'm running downs. It makes no difference what they're doing. They're doing it quicker.
So the ball will back up to the Bloomsburg 43-yard line. And they actually got a short gain on the play before the hold. So it'll be first and about 16. Make it 17 from the Bloomsburg 43. I'm sorry, Tony.
With the thought that they should come back to that play again.
And they do. Only this time, great penetration for the Wolves of Cheyney. Number 96, Wes Settles. Now, they came in highly touted. Did Sabree Anderson and Wes Settles, the right and left defensive ends for the Wolves of Cheyney. Boy, the Huskies' offensive line's done a good job all day long containing them.
Well, I mentioned earlier that they were taking splits, wider splits, Bloomsburg offensive line, and it's really putting these ends out on an island where they really have to defend a larger area.
Miller now rolls to his right, looking to pass, and good coverage by Cheyney. Good pressure by the Wolves. Gets it off to Terrell Johnson. The officials say no. Say he one-hopped it. Good job by Terrell Johnson if he was a shortstop, not as a wide receiver. James Epps and Glenn Irby there on the coverage. But the officials say he one-hopped it. And I'll tell you, I missed it, Tony, in the backfield. Sabree Anderson was in pursuit of Eric Miller, and somebody curled back around for Bloomsburg and crushed him. Absolutely leveled them. Third down now and 21 from the Bloomsburg 39-yard line. 13:59 to go in this third quarter play. Bloomsburg has this one well in hand with a 34-0 lead. Now out of the shotgun, the shovel pass to Melson from Miller, and a good open field tackle by Cheyney's number 7, Mark Jones. So a good job by Jones to make that tackle, and Solomon Melson could have gone for a long way. So Eric Miller to Melson on the pass play does go to the 46-yard line. So they got 7 on the play, but it'll bring up 4th and 14 from the Bloomsburg 46, and Joe Dietrich's on in punt formation. This time the snap's a good one. He gets off the punt. LaDonte Bell runs at it and then runs away. And the ball will be down there by Bloomsburg's number 12, Marcus Glaze, on the special team. So Glaze may be done in the backfield, but puts in some special units time there. And the ball will be down at the 16 or 17-yard line. Cheyney will have the football. So first and 10 for the Wolves. We'll call it the 17. A lot of time to go still in this one, but the outcome not very much in doubt. Bloomsburg on top by a score of 33-0. Colin Smith remains the Cheyney quarterback. Again, Chris Waiters was crushed by Greg Roskus in that first half, and he left the ballgame and has not returned. And now Smith on the handoff off the left side, and not enough much doing. Kenyard Edward on the carry for the Wolves of Cheyney. Give him the 20-yard line, 3 yards on the play, 2nd and 7 for the Wolves.
Brian Sims was one step away from getting that handoff. He almost made the play himself.
In case you've not been listening very closely, that wouldn't be good news for Cheyney. Brian Sims is a defensive lineman for the Huskies of Bloomsburg, so indeed was deep in the backfield when that play went. Phil Ray now, along with Edward behind quarterback Colin Smith. Receivers left and right, that's Smith and Chestnut. So one of the more traditional sets out of the Wolves. Smith back to pass. He's a little guy, but the ball comes out of there. And Rudy Garcia staying between, make it Junie Barnett, staying between himself and Teron Davenport on that far side. And so the pass will go incomplete. It'll be third down.
I think Smith is going to have a problem seeing over his offensive line. He's about 5'7", 5'8", and he's looking over 6'4", 6'5", lineman, when he threw the ball, all you could see was his hand. You couldn't even see him.
Well, I doubt Cheyney's heights and weights. I don't doubt the front line. There's no question those guys are big, but I doubt that Colin Smith is 5'8", and he doesn't look 165 either. So, indeed, he hides when he's back there. Lone back now, twins to the right. Big pass rush coming. He dumps it out here and right over top of Edward, who quickly tries to run it down, thinking it might have been a lateral. It indeed was not. So the pass goes incomplete, brings up 4th and 7 from the Wolves from their own 20, and the punt unit will come on. John Chestnut will go into punt formation. Kurt Leakey and Toye Berry deep for Bloomsburg. It looks like the Huskies might get awfully good field position again. They are standing in Cheyney territory at about the 48-yard line of the Wolves. So any kind of return here, and Bloomsburg's in business. Snap is a good one. Chestnut gets it off. May have been partially blocked, and Berry picks it up about the Cheyney 47. Now back to the 50. Now back over the 45. The 40 knocks one man over and gets it down near the 36-yard line. Goes Toye Berry. So the Huskies may have gotten a mid on that one, and they're going to have awfully good field position when they start this drive. Again, we talked about maybe one series out of the first team unit, and Eric Miller is not going in there. Chris Thompson will be the new quarterback for the Huskies of Bloomsburg. The play will start at the Cheyney 36-yard line, so we'll check new folks in the ball game. Leakey's wide to the right, Forgione wide to the left. Jamison, McLaughlin, and Melson are the running backs. It'll be Melson off the left side, then cuts it back to the middle and gets down near the 30-yard line. So Solomon Melson getting a lot of carries. Jamar Banks makes the tackle for the Wolves of Cheyney, one of those big guys up front. They go 250, 315, 250, and 240 up front. Settles and Anderson, the two defensive ends, highly touted. The Huskies have done a good job today containing them.
I don't remember Colin Anderson's name once on tackles today. They just negated his quickness.
6 yards for Solomon Melson, 2nd and 4 from the Cheyney 30-yard line. It's Melson again left side, and he's cut down very quickly. Good pursuit by the Wolves of Cheyney defensively on that one. Sabri Anderson, I believe, along with number 52 of the Wolves. That's Maurice Bibb, who got there in a hurry. So Melson picks up just a couple on the play. We'll call it the 28. Give him 2. Bring up 3rd and 2.
They're forcing Anderson a good 5 yards to 6 yards away from the ball when they take those splits. He's walking out here now with the offensive tackle, and then look how far away he is. He can't make a play inside.
Left side now, Melson, and straight ahead, and I don't believe he got to the stick. Good job by the Wolves of Cheyney getting in there. Sabri Anderson in on the tackle for Cheyney, and it'll go to about the 26-yard line. It's going to be very, very close. And the official says no measurement, first down Huskies. So give them the 2 yards on the play, and we'll call it 1st and 10 from the Cheyney 26-yard line.
Just as I thought he couldn't make a play, but made a play.
How about it? 10:47 and counting to go in this third quarter play. Old Bloomsburg, 34-0, the Huskies over Cheyney. Rocco Forgione wide to the right. Kurt Leakey wide left. Backs McLaughlin and Melson behind quarterback Chris Thompson. Thompson loses the snap and falls on it, and able to cover the mishandle between the center and the quarterback. So it'll be Chris Thompson, and actually fell back a yard, so a loss of 1 on the play. 2nd and 11. Pressure from John Patrick there, one of those defensive linemen up front for Cheyney. But mishandled snap there. 2nd and 11. It comes from the Cheyney 27 now.
I think Coach Hay will be a little bit more economical with his changes here. He's not going to just platoon a whole offensive series, a change offensive team.
Backs in the eye behind quarterback Chris Thompson. And now whistle blows and a flag flies. And indeed it will be delayed. So the 25-second clock ran out on the Huskies. And you might get that when you start getting a whole bunch of new folks in the ball game and shifting things in and out.
Timing's off a little bit. You know, you're getting the sequence of plays in, and if they understand what you're doing, they're hand signaling in their offensive plays from Coach Monas upstairs.
Well, but the one thing we talked about, too, Tony, was the chance to get these guys some playing time with some real tough ball games coming up over the next couple of weeks. And, boy, they're getting the opportunity this afternoon. Thompson now rolls to his right-hand side. He's got Kurt Leakey about the 25-yard line and corralled there by Alan Parker, Carlos Pasoles, and others. But Thompson on the mark to Leakey on that far side, and it'll go inside the 27, we'll call it the 26-yard line. 6 yards on the pass play. Brings up a 3rd down and 11 now from the Cheyney 26-yard line. The Huskies will go right to the line of scrimmage. Thompson now in the shotgun. Nelson beside him back there. Rolls to his left, looking. He'll go for all of it. Wide open in the end zone. Touchdown to Julius King. Sophomore wide receiver, 5'6", 170 pounds, out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Lincoln High School. And Chris Thompson was on the mark, but there's a flag on the play. So hold on to it. A perfectly thrown pass, Chris Thompson to Julius King, a sophomore wide receiver. Personal foul against Bloomsburg. The touchdown stands, so it's a dead ball foul. So Chris Thompson's pass to Julius King will stand. It'll be 26-yard touchdown with 8:49 to go in the 3rd quarter of play. But then the big walk-off for the personal foul on the extra point, and we'll get a chance for a long field goal. Of course, it'll only be worth the 1 point, but Chris Thompson's pass nonetheless will stand. And now on to attempt the extra point for the Huskies. Different holder. The holder will be Ryan Van Norman for the Huskies. And a different kicker attempting the extra point. And check it here will be Zach Quigley. So Quigley from the 25-yard line will be a 35-yard extra point kick attempt. The snap's a little high. They get it down. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Zach Quigley with a long extra point, and it runs the score to Bloomsburg 41, Cheyney nothing. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Elbow right here, a Chris Thompson to Julius King 26-yard pass. A 36-yard drive for the Huskies. They started deep in Cheyney territory after a Toye-Berry return, and the Huskies have added to this lead, and now a booming kickoff over the head of Alan Parker. So good job by Zach Quigley. Had a little bit of a breeze behind him now. We haven't had much of one all day long, and no rain this afternoon. It's been overcast all afternoon long. We talked about maybe the perfect weather to play a football game, and indeed it has been perfect for the Huskies of Bloomsburg so far. They're pitching a shutout, and they're scoring a lot. 41-0. The Huskies over the Wolves of Cheyney. Cheyney will put it in play, 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line.
Coach McGrone really gets excited about his kickers, doesn't he?
Well, he's got to have somebody get excited about those kickers. They're usually a different bunch together, and good job that Zach Quigley has done today kicking off. He's certainly gotten his opportunity to do that. 10-yard Edward now is corralled by Matt Keys on the play, and doesn't pick up very much on that. Brian Sims from behind. So Edward has had a long day. Didn't have a whole lot of yardage at halftime, and he hasn't picked up much in this 3rd quarter. No gain on that play, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
They're not moving anybody off the ball, as they haven't been able to do from the first series.
There's some meat up front, too, and the Wolves indeed have not done a real good job. Carlton Hamright on that one side goes 300. Rashad Holloway goes 330, so I think they should move some people. Great penetration now by the Huskies, and the toss to Edward will get absolutely nothing. Another loss for the Wolves. Will go back inside the 20 to the 18, a loss of 2 to bring up 3rd and 12 now from the Cheyney 18-yard line. More importantly, for everybody involved, the clock continues to run.
You said about the meat out there, Jim, the meat have to have feet. And if your feet don't move, you can't move anyone. They're planted.
And I want to emphasize my point a little bit more. They get real small on the left side. They only go 270, 295, and 280 in the middle at the center position. So meat indeed. So might not have feet, but there's meat there. Colin Smith now back to pass. Lets it fly. Got his man. Fred Smith out near the 30-yard line. So good job, Trent Flick and Jason Noble on the stop, but Colin Smith on the pass connection to Fred Smith So that Smith combination works, puts it at the 31-yard line. Gain of 13, 1st and 10 for the Wolves.
Well, Bloomsburg's making some changes now, and Cheyney's still in here with their first team offensively, so they're going to be a little bit more experienced finding holes in that secondary.
Vernon Davis, Fred Smith wide to the right, double tight end. Lone running back is Kenyard Edward. Long count out of Smith. He's getting his opportunity to run this team today. Kenyard Edward bounces off the left side. Not much doing there, but Smith getting the opportunity. Mike Gross, a freshman linebacker from Slatington and Northern Lehigh High School, on the tackle. Smith getting the opportunity to run this club. Chris Waiters went down in that first half when he was absolutely crushed by Greg Roskus and had to be helped off the field, and he has not returned for the Huskies. Aristine Henry going down on the first play from scrimmage. Word is lower back contusion, and he will be back next week most likely. So Edward got 1 yard on the play, makes it 2nd and 9 from the Cheyney 32-yard line. He'll get the toss now, try the left side, get some room out over the 40 and the 45-yard line. Good balance by the talented Cheyney running back. Trent Flick finally on the stop. But, boy, he looked like he leaned and was going to fall over, Tony, and he kept right on going. Great balance.
Nice balance, yeah. He's trying to make something happen for the team. He's putting a lot of effort in. You know, being down 41 points and you're running the football, that shows a lot of character by the kid.
Edward picks up 15 yards with that balance. 1st and 10 for the Wolves from their own 47-yard line. 5:42 and counting in this third quarter play. Bloomsburg all over Cheyney by a score 41-0. Vernon Davis and Chestnut come wide to this left side, make it Smith. Now Colin Smith back to pass and almost picked off. Boy, Matt Keys knocked it down, and he had it. Colin Smith looking for Fred Smith on the play, and Matt Keys read it perfectly at that linebacker spot.
I don't think Smith ever saw Keys. He sat in that little zone, in the hook zone, and he jumped up in the air vertically and nearly intercepted the ball.
So 2nd and 10 now for the Wolves. It's been all Bloomsburg. They've done a wonderful job defensively today. Obviously, even with substitutions there, would love to pitch that shutout. Nothing defenses like more. Offensively, the Huskies have been very, very sharp. They lead this one 41-0. Colin Smith now with lone running back Edward. Back to pass, goes to the left side, and misses Russ Sanders out there, and he's kicked. Like a quarterback that's a little feisty. They're down 41-0. He doesn't care. He had his man, and he missed him.
You know, to put in perspective, though, how short he is, when he gets under center, most quarterbacks have to bend over. He's got to stand straight up just to get the handoff.
Well, he missed his guy there. He wants to get one on the board here, and I like feisty quarterbacks, especially when they're behind 41-0. Colin Smith right now is urging his team on. LaDonte Bell is now the tailback in the I. Phil Keys is the fullback. John Chestnut wide right, Fred Smith wide to the left. One of the more traditional sets of the afternoon out of the Wolves. Now the option, and he's going to get crushed. Absolutely buried by the Huskies' number 43, Ron Smith. Sophomore linebacker, and Smith got there in a hurry. He's out of Neshaminy High School, and Colin Smith never got rid of it. Flag flies. Personal foul against Bloomsburg. Maybe they got a little bit too rough, but a good job by the sophomore Ron Smith on the play.
Who made that play was Brian Sims, though. He is one step from being a featured running back of Cheyney. He is so quick off the ball. He took the center that time and stuck him in the quarterback's back pocket. He's coming out of the game now.
I don't know what the personal foul was. Good job by Brian Sims. You heard him on our halftime feature. Impressive young man. And he was featured at halftime in our Husky Spotlight, and an interesting internship in Santa Clara, California during the summer. And Brian Smith had a whale of a day defensively for the Huskies. Looks like he's done for the afternoon now. So the Huskies of Bloomsburg with Cheyney now at their 40-yard line, 1st and 10 at the Bloomsburg 40 following the personal foul. Twins to the right, lone receiver left. Colin Smith now in Chestnut, a little hitch inside, and not much doing there. So Smith hits Chestnut, Mike Gross comes up, the freshman linebacker, again, to make the hit on Chestnut. Interesting play there, Tony. We've only seen that once earlier today, and they didn't complete it.
Well, they tried it a couple times. I thought they did complete it the one series, Jim, where it's almost like a little pick play. That inside receiver comes out and tries to set a pick on the corner, and the outside receiver comes underneath him.
Actually, they may have tried it earlier. We talked about that pick play, but it was a little wider on the field. That time, the receiver came all the way back, almost the line of scrimmage. Cheyney will take a timeout. So will we. 4:17 to go in the third quarter play. Bloomsburg 41, Cheyney nothing. We'll be back after this 30-second break.
2-6. Back to you.
All right, thanks very much. After the Cheyney timeout here, 2nd and 8 from the Bloomsburg 38. Want to go back to that last play in a second, Tony. Colin Smith now to Fred Smith and connects. So Smith to Smith. And Luke Murray makes the tackle for the Huskies. Let's go back to that other play because I said we hadn't seen it before. You said we had, and that the pick play and everything else looked a little different. Why?
They ran it from the hash mark, from the right hash mark here. So he had to go a shorter distance, which is going to put him closer to the ball from the snap. They ran it the first time they ran it, they were in the center of the field, so it made it look like he had a lot more field to work with.
Okay, 11 yards on the Smith-to-Smith pass play. Following that, 1st and 10 for the Wolves from the Bloomsburg 27. They're trying to get on the board. So far, Bloomsburg pitching the shutout defensively. Colin Smith takes the snap. It's Kenyard Edward. Left side has some running room. Flag fly inside the 20 and the 15. But a flag flies back in the backfield. Trent Flick finally makes the tackle, but holding it came out of the umpire, and you can bet it's going to be holding. Indeed, it is against the Wolves. So one of their biggest offensive plays of the afternoon is for naught. And we'll come back. The flag lying right on the ground about the 29-yard line. Play started from the 27. So expect this one out of the backfield. It's going to be a 12-yard mark off. So 12 from back from that 27 will put it about the 39-yard line of Bloomsburg. Make it a 1st and 22 from the Bloomsburg 39.
On Smith's last completion, where he threw the ball back across the field, there wasn't very much on that throw, and I saw the coaches talking to their secondary. They can't pick that one off.
Huskies had one interception coming into this ball game. It was Toye Berry. Now Rudy Garcia got one early, so I'd like to get a couple of those picks in a second. Russ Sanders now on the option pass and intended for Vernon Davis. So Colin Smith took the snap, tossed it back to Russ Sanders, who played a little bit quarterback earlier in the day, and Sanders throws it out of bounds. So that one goes incomplete. First time we've seen any kind of what we could call razzle-dazzle out of the Wolves.
Anything they can come up with right now, they need to do.
Well, they want to try to get some points on the board, obviously. Nobody likes to be shut out. I don't think there's obviously any question that this ball game has been decided with a 41-0 Bloomsburg lead, but a whole lot of time to go in the ball game yet. 3:14 still to go in this third quarter of play. Now, 4 wide receivers in the ball game again. Smith back to pass, looking over the middle, throws it to Edwards out of the backfield. And the Huskies with great pursuit, Rudy Garcia, Matt Keys, and others there in a hurry. So Smith pass complete to Edward. The play start at the 39. We'll give him the 35. 4 yards on the play. 3rd and 18 now from the Bloomsburg 35-yard line.
Those plays right now, like the draw and the screens, aren't going to be as effective as they were in the first half because Bloomsburg's playing a little bit softer now. They're not going to be attacking the ball as quickly as they were in the first half, so they're kind of sitting back waiting for those plays to happen.
Chestnut and Fred Smith go wide left. Vernon Davis and LaDonte Bell go wide to the right. Now Russ Sanders, the quarterback, and takes a snap and has to run out of bounds. So anytime Sanders has been the quarterback today, there's been no question. He hasn't even made any pretense of a pass. That goes maybe to the 34-yard line. Give him a yard on the play, and it'll bring up 4th and 17 from the Bloomsburg 34-yard line. Goes out of bounds again, so the clock stops one more time.
It's be just a limited number of plays that they let him run, Sanders run. Because he definitely has a lot of talent, and he's be a heck of a threat.
I hope they don't name them too imaginatively, like something like run left and run right. Chestnut, Sanders, Vernon Davis wide to the right, Davenport Smith wide to the left. Colin Smith running for his life and will not get it off. He'll get taken down by sophomore linebacker Ron Smith about the 35-yard line, and the Huskies will get it back on downs. A loss of 1 for Smith. Bloomsburg has the football. 1st and 10, just outside their 35-yard line. We'll call it officially the 36. 2:16 to go in this third quarter play. Bloomsburg 41, Cheyney nothing. The Huskies will pick up their first win in the PSAC East. Next Saturday night, they'll travel to Westchester in search of win number 2 in the division. Chris Thompson's the quarterback for the Huskies now. Backs in the eye behind him, Werner and Melson. Werner gets the call, and he'll get out near the 40-yard line. So Doug Werner doesn't get a lot of carries, and about his third of the afternoon now, and gets out to the 40. So give him 4. 2nd and 6 for the Huskies.
On that 4th down play when Smith was trying to elude some of the defenders had a heck of a time trying to get around those big offensive linemen to find that little guy.
He is difficult to locate,
especially hiding behind some of those offensive linemen.
Leakey and Rocco Forgione now come wide to the left for the Huskies. Backs in the eye. Thompson hands it off to Melson out over the 40, the 45, and near midfield. Drug down by Alan Parker, and that's secondary for Cheyney, but not before he picks up first down yardage, and he'll move the sticks again. More importantly for everybody involved, he stays in bounds, and after they move those chains, the clock will continue to run. 9 yards for Solomon on the play. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. 1:24 and counting to go in this third quarter play. It's been all Bloomsburg. Receivers right and left. That's Forgione and Leakey. Backs in the eye behind quarterback Chris Thompson. The Solomon Melson right side, and not much doing this time. Ran into a whole lot of white jerseys.
Try to take some time off the clock now. I don't know if they have to throw the ball.
I certainly would hope not. To the Cheyney 49-yard line, give Nelson 2 on the play. So now it's 2nd and 8 for the Huskies from the Cheyney 49. And Bloomsburg has this one in hand. A lot of people getting a chance to play. Big afternoon out of Marcus Glaze. Had 218 yards and 3 touchdowns at halftime. Got the chance to play so much because Aristine Henry went down early. Word is a lower back problem and should be back next week. We were told early he would not play the remainder of the day. Thompson now back to pass. Has Leakey wide open at the Cheyney 28, and he'll finally be drugged down about the 15-yard line. So James Epps caught up with him, but Chris Thompson to Kurt Leakey, and the pass is complete. The play started at the Cheyney 49. It goes all the way to the 13. 36 yards on the pass play. 1st and 10 Huskies. Inside of 20 seconds now in this third quarter. The Huskies may get one more playoff in this third quarter of play. Thompson with the backs in the eye. Both receivers, Forgione and Leakey, split out wide to the right. Handoff will go to Solomon Melson, right side. He'll battle inside the 10-yard line and down near the 5, and that'll do it for the third quarter play. With the score, Bloomsburg 41, Cheyney nothing. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Fourth quarter of play just ready to get underway. The Huskies of Bloomsburg with this one well in hand. Waiting now, a signal from the official and a little more time delay. Huskies leading this one by a score of 41-0 with the fourth quarter yet to go. The subs have been in this ball game for some time. Huge first half for Bloomsburg offensively and defensively. Now we see that tight end go into the wing position again for the Huskies. And they'll go that left way. Solomon Melson will go to the left. They'll go that way down to the 5. And tackled by Justin Evans there. They'll give him inside the 4-yard line. So 2 yards from Melson will bring up 3rd and 1 from the Cheyney 4-yard line. A very short one. They're just short of those 6 on the far side. So the Huskies can get it. West settles in on that play. Again, Settles and Sabri Anderson, the 2 defensive ends for Cheyney, came in very, very highly touted. And they have not been very effective all afternoon. A good job by the Huskies. Now in motion to that left side will be Melson, and he'll get the first down for Bloomsburg. Will not get into the end zone. Play started at the 4. He needed about a foot. He got a little bit more than that. They'll give him all the way to the 3-yard line. So it'll be first and goal for the Huskies now coming from the Cheyney 3. Actually, the officials say 4th down, but I'm not so sure.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, they're going to measure it. Yeah. I figured that was coming sooner or later. They looked and they looked and they talked more and more and finally came to the conclusion that they're going to measure it.
So when it gets into that formation where they have 84 Leckhaller and
Alan
Lechthaler and Gregor, it's 250 pounds and 234 pounds on a corner and on a defensive end, and they do a nice job blocking technique-wise. They kick them out one time, they seal them down the next time. They have a nice combination together.
Aaron Bordas is in that wing position behind Lechthaler on that left side, and now it's the right side for Melson, and he goes down to the 2, and the Huskies indeed did pick up the first down on that last carry, so now we'll give them down to the 2, give them 1 more yard, bring up second and goal from the Cheyney 2-yard line. So 13:54 to go in this one. All that is in doubt is what time of day we will finish and how many yards offensively the Huskies will finally have when this one is over. They lead 41-0 over Cheyney. Now double tight ends again in that wing set position on the left side, and they're going to go that way, Melson, and he'll go into the end zone for a Bloomsburg touchdown standing up. Solomon Melson from 2 yards out, and the Bloomsburg lead grows even bigger. Now stands at 47-0.
Fran Gregor made a heck of a block there. He took the end and ran him right down to the football. That's from the end position down to the center of the field.
13:50 to go in this one. Bloomsburg on top by 47-0. Zach Quigley now on to attempt the extra point. The holders Ryan Van Norman. The snap is a little low, gets it down, the kick is up, and the kick is good. With the score, Bloomsburg 48, Cheyney 0. We'll be back after this 30-second break.
And Tony.
Thanks very much, Dave. Right here, Bloomsburg continues to add to their lead. 48-0 now. Solomon Melson on a 2-yard touchdown run. Zach Quigley with the extra point attempt. So the Huskies doing it all offensively and defensively. Quigley now with a kickoff, low, end over end to be Fred Smith about his 18 out over the 20, the 25, the 30, the 35, and out near the 40-yard line goes the Cheyney wide receiver special teams player. And Fred Smith gets them some pretty good field position. If the Wolves are going to get on the board, it's got to be pretty soon. Bloomsburg up 48-0 in this one. 13:41 still to go in the ball game.
Really never saw much effectiveness out of that 5-wide, 4-wide set, and they really never ran a lot of motion.
True story.
Just stand-up offense.
Our somewhat more traditional, I guess. A wing to the right, double receivers, twins to the left side. Lone running back is LaDonte Bell. He'll get the call off the right side, goes Bell, and out over the 40-yard line, maybe near the 43 or 4. Give him the 44-yard line. 5 yards on the play. 2nd and 5 coming from the Cheyney 44-yard line. So the Huskies getting ready for a heck of a stretch run that includes several ranked teams: Millersville, Slippery Rock, Indiana, East Stroudsburg. East Stroudsburg, you heard, coming back on another ranked team, Shepherd, this afternoon to take a 21-20 lead. So that'll be an interesting score in the regional rankings. Huskies face all those folks in future weeks. So today was a time to get a whole lot of people in the ball game and pick up a big win. LaDonte Bell now on the carry out over the 45 near the 47-yard line. And Zach Myers for the Huskies from Phillipsburg, New Jersey, a 6'3", 260-pound defensive lineman, makes the tackle. Give a Bell to the 47, so 3 yards on that play. It'll bring up 3rd and 2 from the Cheyney 47-yard line. 12:28 and counting to go in this fourth quarter play.
And Cheyney seems to be content just to run the football to take the time off the clock to get out of here, too.
Sooner or later, you have to admit to the fact, and I think the Wolves maybe have finally done that. LaDonte Bell, right side, has some room into Bloomsburg territory and down near the 45-yard line. So LaDonte Bell doing a lot of the ball carrying now. Mike Gross, a freshman linebacker from Slatington and Northern Lehigh High School, gets the tackle on the play, and a whole lot of Huskies in and out of there. Now the defensive line switch again, 3 in and 3 out. So the play goes to the Bloomsburg 45-yard line, a gain of 8 for Bell. 1st and 10 coming from the Bloomsburg 45. Receivers to the left side, Teron Davenport and John Chestnut. Backs are in the eye behind Colin Smith. Back to pass, play action, has plenty of time, lets it fly, and he's got Chestnut about the 27 and inside the 25 near the 20.
That was a nice throw.
Yes, it was. He had plenty of time. Charlie Lanier, a sophomore from Pocono Mountain High School, makes the tackle, but Smith to John Chestnut. Good protection up front by the Wolves' offensive front line. Had to go all the way to the 19-yard line, 26 yards on the pass play. 1st and 10 for the Wolves from the Bloomsburg 19.
Probably just as nice a catch, too. He caught it a little behind him on his right shoulder pad.
Chestnut now goes to the slot on the right side, now comes in motion to the left. Backs are in the eye, Ray and Bell. Bell will get the toss from the tailback position, turn the corner, flag flies from behind it. Another flies in there. So what's happened to the Wolves all afternoon long is they've shot themselves in the foot. Get out the gun again. Holding against Cheyney.
As soon as they get beat on the perimeter there, they kind of reach back and try to make a block, but they're totally out of position to make it, and they're going to get called for holding.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's been consistent all afternoon because they've run the same play a couple of times, and boy, that flag is flown just about every time. Play started at the Bloomsburg 19. It'll go back to the 25-yard line, so they did pick up some yards, did LaDonte Bell, but it'll bring up a first down now. The ball's on the 24, a 1st and 15 from the Bloomsburg 24-yard line. So Bell picked up some yardage and then had it walked off against him. The backs are split now behind Smith. Back to pass, has some time, stays in the pocket, now has to run for his life, fumbles the football, and it's covered by one of those Cheyney linemen.
It's covered, you're right.
Yeah.
The air almost came out of it.
No, I don't know that I'll go there. Number 75 for Cheyney covers it. That's Robert Moore, a sophomore from Aliquippa, 6'4", 315 pounds. No, I'm not. Never mind.
To the air coming out.
No gain on the play. 2nd and 15 for the Bloomsburg 24. It was covered all right. Smith back to pass. Has some time and has his man Chestnut inside the 20-yard line and then brought down there. So Derek Williams on the play for Bloomsburg, but Smith to Chestnut. That connection clicked for 26 yards earlier in this drive. This time it started at the 24. It goes to the 17, so just 7 yards. Brings up 3rd and 8 from the Bloomsburg 17-yard line. 9:46 and counting to go in this one. Well in hand for the Huskies. They'll pick up their 2nd win of the season and go to 2-2. More importantly, 1-0 in the PSAC's Eastern Division. Chestnut wide to the right, Davenport wide left, straight ahead goes the fullback Phil Ray, and Ray from the 17 gets inside the 15 down near the 13-yard line. Maybe give him a little bit more. Hey, give him the 12. 5 yards for Phil Ray. It'll bring up 4th and 3 from the Bloomsburg 12. So 4th down for the Wolves. If they're going to get on the board in this ball game, this is their best opportunity. They need to convert on a 4th down play. Teron Davenport wide to the left, Chestnut wide right. LaDonte Bell is the lone running back behind quarterback Colin Smith. Smith back to pass, quick drop, will go for all of it in the end zone, and Teron Davenport wants a penalty for pass interference. There was contact with Bloomsburg's Malik Jones in that end zone, but the pass will go incomplete, and the Wolves will turn the ball over on down.
A little hand fighting going on there, trying not to give ground. It could have went either way, really.
Well, it went the way of the Huskies, as has most of this football game. Bloomsburg on top, 48-0.
That was a good no call by the official.
Any call at this point in the game, Tony, is a good no call. 13, Andrew Herman, now the Bloomsburg quarterback, the third of the afternoon, so Chris Thompson looks like he'll get the rest of the day off. Now left side for Bloomsburg, and we'll check the running back because they've been in and out. Mark Jones on the tackle, and pile 32 Solomon Melton is still indeed at that tailback spot. Huskies got to the line too quickly for me to pick that one up, because out to the 15, so a gain of 3 on the play. It'll bring up 2nd and 7 from the 15-yard line. Andrew Herman, the new quarterback, he's a sophomore, 6'1", 187 from Mendham, New Jersey High School. Brookside, New Jersey is the town. The fullback now gets the call on the play. So Bloomsburg content to run the football now, thankfully, and run out this clock. So
we get these substitutions in here. They a little confused Cheyney defensively of where they wanted to line up, and they were creating some huge holes just by their alignment.
But Doug Werner got the carry on the last play, and he picked up 2. So they'll bring up 3rd and 5 now from the Bloomsburg 17-yard line. Now Herman rolls to his right, looking big pressure, and he's going to get sacked back inside the 5. Great pressure from the Wolves of Cheyney, and run down back there by number 96, Wes Settles. So finally this afternoon, we're able to call Wes Settles' name, and all afternoon the Huskies have done a good job on those highly touted defensive ends, Sabri Anderson and Wes Settles. Settles gets the sack all the way back to the 5, a loss of 12 on the play. Brings up 4th and 17 from the Bloomsburg 5. Joe Dietrich on to punt for the Huskies. He's standing in his own end zone, and Bloomsburg's going to have to burn a timeout. So will we. 6:53 to go in the ball game. 48-0 Huskies. We'll be back after this 30-second break.
That's in 34-34, that game going into overtime. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Dave. Joe Dietrich's punt following that Husky timeout out of the end zone. A pretty good one. LaDante Bell at the Bloomsburg 44, and he'll pick up a couple of yards on the return. So Cheyney stands to have pretty good field position. The Wolves still trying to get in the Bloomsburg end zone. They have been unsuccessful to this point. 6:42 to go in the ball game. Bloomsburg on top by a score of 48-0. Cheyney will have it 1st and 10 at the Husky 41.
That was a nice kick. He's out of his end zone, actually into the wind, a little bit of the wind that what there is today. It was about 45 yards from where he kicked the ball, not from where he's going to be credited for the kick.
So Cheyney 1st and 10 at the Bloomsburg 41. Teron Davenport goes wide to the right. Ron Shipman comes wide to the left. LaDante Bell's the lone setback, and he is set back a good 8 yards behind the quarterback. He'll get the pitch and get tackled at the 45-yard line. So a loss of 4 for Bell on the play. Tony, he had to run a mile just to get there.
Well, you know, what's interesting about that is when he was trying to turn the corner here, there was no white shirts. They were all maroon shirts, and obviously he wasn't going anywhere.
Brian Stone, a freshman from Worcester Academy in Norwich, Connecticut, makes the tackle for the Huskies. So just about everybody wearing maroon today, and I think a few people who aren't wearing maroon have played on the Bloomsburg side of the football. Twins to the left, or the right side now. LaDante Bell, the lone running back. He'll get the call right side, has a little bit of room, and then gets crushed. Almost got back to the line of scrimmage. Sean Butler, a freshman linebacker from Council Rock High School, among others there, who crushed Bell. And he'll get from the 44 to the 42, so gain of 2 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd down and 11 from the Bloomsburg 42. 5:30 and counting to go in this ball game. Bloomsburg all over Cheyney by a score of 48-0.
Butler made the type of a tackle that Jeremiah Dyer makes. Head up, straight, chest to chest.
Chestnut wide to the right, Davenport wide left. Smith back to pass. He gets crushed, and a flag, or the beanbag flies, and they're going to call it a fumble. He was railed by Ron Smith, the sophomore linebacker from Neshaminy, and recovered by the Huskies. So Smith's fumble recovery. Haven't had a lot of turnovers in this ball game. 1 interception by Rudy Garcia. Now the fumble recovery by the Huskies, but credit Ron Smith with the big hit on Colin Smith of Cheyney, and Bloomsburg gets the football back. 1st and 10. The Huskies will have it at their own 47.
One of the curses of the one-back offense. You don't have enough people to block.
Especially when you can't see. It came from the blind side, and the Wolves have already lost 1 quarterback today, so they don't need to be beaten up anymore. Now the Huskies straight ahead on the carry. West settles on the tackle. Running the football for Bloomsburg is number 23. That's Willie Green, a sophomore from Gettysburg High School, 5'9", 175 pounds. So the Huskies getting everybody possible, and they're Willie Green on that carry from the tailback spot. Give him the 49, a gain of 2. 2nd and 8 coming from the Bloomsburg 49-yard line. Again, Andrew Herman's the quarterback. This is Green. Dances a little bit, and they'll be stood up right about the 50-yard line. So once he started dancing around, a whole lot of Cheyney players showed up. Glenn Irby and Mark Jones leading the charge. Be 3rd down.
He's about 2 feet away from hitting that perfect spot for that stretch play. He turned it back inside more than you'd like that to be run. It's not a cutback run.
Now wide to the left side goes number 16, Ryan Van Norman, and number 22, Ryan Breach for the Huskies. Backs are in the eye again. Andrew Herman's the quarterback. Long count. Midfield. He'll roll to his left, looking to pass, and almost gets his guy over there. Breach. Just can't get it. Brian Breach, the freshman wide receiver from Southern Columbia, getting his chance to get in the ball game now, and the pass will go incomplete, and the Huskies will punt the football away.
Breach did a nice job of keeping his feet in bounds. Unfortunately, he couldn't hang on to the ball.
So all kinds of new Bloomsburg performers in the football game. Joe Dietrich in punt formation. LaDonte Bell will go deep for Cheyney. Dietrich standing about his 36-yard line. He'll get the punt off. It's a beauty. High and angling away, and now takes the Cheyney bounce, however, and it'll be down outside the Cheyney 20-yard line. So we'll check the spot till they're finally done, but a good punt by Dietrich. No return on the play. Cheyney will have it probably for the last time this afternoon. 3:30 to go in this ball game. Bloomsburg on top by a score of 48-0. Call it the 19-yard line. Interesting spot there. I thought the Huskies batted it out about the 24, Tony, but they're going to call it the 19. So Cheyney, if they're going to get in the board today, is going to be 81 yards.
Nothing different. Nothing's changed from the first quarter.
Shipman to the left. Teron Davenport wide to the right. Backs are in the eye behind quarterback Colin Smith. The handoff goes to the fullback Phil Ray, and a whole lot of maroon jerseys there, right about the 20-yard line, maybe a yard, yard and a half at best on the play. Let's call it the 20, 1 yard on the play, 2nd and 9 coming from the Cheyney 20-yard line. So Bloomsburg will pick up the win. They go next Saturday night to Westchester's Farrell Stadium to face the Golden Rams. They've struggled in the early going, has Westchester, and Bloomsburg looking for win number 2 in the PSAC Eastern Division. A lot of interesting scores around the region. Remind you to stick with Dave Delbo in the Scoreboard Show immediately following our broadcast. Now Colin Smith back to pass, intended for Teron Davenport, and nothing doing there. So good job by the Huskies, and The pass will go incomplete.
He almost made a great catch there, though. He was falling away from the direction the ball was coming and nearly hung on to it. Got to give him credit.
So all kinds of new Bloomsburg players getting a chance. That's probably what Danny Hale wanted to have happen. We see a lot of different folks in there. Eric Stepanow, freshman linebacker from Southern Columbia. Number 17, David Solomon Jett, a freshman from Wissahickon. So a lot of freshmen out in the field getting some experience in a Husky uniform. Colin Smith now back to pass and gets buried. One of the Huskies just absolutely beat. That's Ron Smith. He's been impressive as Ron Smith. I've mentioned him again many times in his second half, Tony. Sophomore, 6'1", 210 from Langhorne, Neshaminy High School. He's been impressive in this second half.
They're just turning the corner. They're beating the tackles right off the ball and taking a great angle. Again, that X that I talked about in the first half, put an X on the field, and that's where you're going to find your quarterback. They're just running to a spot, and he shows up.
Loss of 7 on the play, 4th and 16 from the Wolves at their own 13-yard line. So Chestnut now in punt formation, standing about a yard deep in his end zone. Snaps a low one. He'll get the punt away. It's a low roller and take a big Bloomsburg, big Cheyney bounce. Turn out to be a pretty effective punt, and I'll bet you it didn't clear a hand on the line of scrimmage by more than a couple of inches.
Flag down.
Flag on the play, so hold it right here. Roughing the punter against Bloomsburg. How is that possible? He got that snap and got it off so quickly that
I didn't see anyone touch him.
I'm not sure how it happened, but hey, I'm not sure anything else would surprise me right now. Roughing the punter against Bloomsburg. So bring it back and start all over again. One of the more interesting punts we've seen. I'll tell you, it just barely cleared the line of scrimmage, and then it took a huge Cheyney roll. Bloomsburg actually would have had good field position about the 42, but from Cheyney's standpoint, that wasn't all bad. Now it's walked off out near the 19-yard line. It'll still be 4th down.
It was running into the kicker. It wasn't roughing the kicker.
Okay, so 5 yards on the play, and Chestnut now in punt formation, standing about his 2-yard line. This time the snap's better, the punt's away, and the punt's a little better, and he angles it away from Julius King, who hits the ball and now has to chase it down. It's going to turn out to be a big one. He better fall on that football, runs away from it, and Cheyney's going to down it and pick it up, and I believe it'll be Cheyney's football. That's indeed the case. Julius King touched the football. It rolled away from him, rolled all the way inside the Bloomsburg 10-yard line. A flag flies on the play, so the Wolves hope this is not against them because the only thing it can do is hurt. King was in Cheyney territory when he started this play, backed up on a good punt by John Chestnut, hit the football, rolls all the way inside the Cheyney 10, and it's blocking in the back against Bloomsburg. That'll be declined, and Cheyney will have it 1st and 10 1st and goal inside the 10. So the punt was touched by Bloomsburg, and Cheyney, after all afternoon long trying to get in the end zone, now will have their best opportunity with 2:21 to go in the game. They'll start at 1st and goal at the Bloomsburg 7.
Well, the first half they dodged the bullet on a punt for number 24 for Bloomsburg. Troy
Berry. Yeah, we thought he touched
it. And now
Julius King did.
He did touch it.
Chestnut and Vernon Davis wide to the left. Teron Davenport wide to the right. Backs in the eye. The toss will go to Sanders. He'll hand it to Chestnut on the end around. He'll turn the corner and get in for a Cheyney touchdown. So the end around from John Chestnut, and the Wolves finally get on the board after a snafu in the special teams play by Bloomsburg. John Chestnut, 7 yards, and Cheyney's on the board.
Unfortunately, it's about 40 minutes late to be running a reverse.
Well, no, I think they wanted to get on the board.
I know, Jim, but they needed something like that in the first half.
It was a pretty effective-looking play, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and that's the way you negate a hard-rushing defense and go against them.
Now the Wolves will go for 2. Phil Ray and Sanders split behind quarterback Colin Smith. 2 receivers to the right side, Davis and Chestnut. Smith looks back to the left side and goes for Teron Davenport, and it's incomplete. Wouldn't have been any good anyway. Davenport's still not in the end zone, but it's incomplete, so they score. Bloomsburg 48, Cheyney 6. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Here doing the math on a punt play that we think was 79 yards, and anyway, it set up a John Chestnut end around of 7 yards for the touchdown after getting the handoff from Russ Sanders, and Cheyney finally gets on the board. They trail in this one 48-6 with 2:14 to go, and now they try an onside kick. They figure they've got that offense clicking now. They want the football back.
First time they kicked, or second time they kicked off the whole game.
Man, oh man, this one has seemed awfully long this afternoon with a lot of penalty flags. Not a whole lot of turnovers, surprisingly, in a ball game of this nature, but 2:13 still to go on the clock. 48-6 is the Bloomsburg lead. All kinds of new folks in the Bloomsburg lineup. Ryan Breach goes wide to the left. 87, Pete Avellino, a freshman from Mount Carmel, comes wide right. Backs are in the eye behind Andrew Herman, the quarterback. That is Willie Green, a sophomore from Gettysburg High School at the tailback position. He gets the carry on the play. Sabree Anderson makes the tackle for Cheyney. Now inside of 2 minutes to go in this ball game. Bloomsburg all over Cheyney, 48-6. Reminder, Jim Doyle and Andy Ulickney will be back next week when the Huskies travel to Farrell Stadium in Westchester. 6:30 airtime, 7 o'clock kickoff from Farrell Stadium. Huskies will be 1-0 in the PSAC Eastern Division going into that one. Now Willie Green on the delay. Sprint draw, he'll dance around a little bit and get down near the 40-yard line, will Willie Green.
Tried to make something out of it, but there was no place to go.
Whole bunch of new folks in there. Eli Johnson makes the tackle for Cheyney. Most importantly now, the clock continues to run. Willie stayed in bounds, and thankfully this one's going to come to an end. 48-6, Bloomsburg all over Cheyney. Remind you, Dave Delbo with all the scores from college football throughout the country. Immediately following our broadcast on the scoreboard show, and Jim Doyle wraps up a whole weekend of college and high school football on your home. For college and high school football, WCNR with the Sunday morning quarterback tomorrow at 9 a.m. Andrew Herman now rolls to his right, looking, and stays in bounds, and finally is tackled by 52 Maurice Bibbs of Cheyney. 41 seconds, clock continues to run. Then Bloomsburg will pick up the win. The Huskies will go to 2-2 with this victory. Cheyney will fall to 2-1. Most importantly for Bloomsburg, 1-0 in the PSAC East. Cheyney will fall to 0-1, and the Wolves call timeout. Fourth down for the Huskies of Bloomsburg. We'll keep it right here, Tony. Appreciate you joining us this afternoon. It's the first chance we've gotten to work together, and wish we could have given you a little bit better football game, but appreciate you joining us. The Huskies have looked very, very impressive. They started with 2 tough losses to Carson Newman and Shippensburg to open this season. Now come back and big favorites against Lock Haven and Cheyney. They've come away with big wins. Sometimes that sends as much as a signal as anything else. You're supposed to, and you do.
Yeah, and I guess they really weren't that far off on really being undefeated. A couple miscues in that first game against Carson Newman, and then in the Ship game where you have 2 of your key linemen get injured and can't play, made a whole difference in the ball game for them.
So health will be important, and we'll remind you that Aristine Henry went down on the Huskies' first offensive play of the afternoon, so during the course of the week we'll check on his health and availability for next week. Preliminary indication was that he would be available. So fourth down now for the Huskies. They'll punt the football away. The punt is off and away. LaDante Bell at the 10-yard line, and he'll get run down. Good job there on special teams by Bryant Stone, a freshman from Worcester Academy, number 30, and he ran down Bell. And Cheyney, if they're going to get any more points on the board, are going to have to go a long, long way. They'll start at their own 9-yard line with just 18 seconds to go in this ball game. Bloomsburg on top by a score of 48-6. So start adding up all the math and put this win in the books for the Huskies of Bloomsburg. And remind you, on WCNR next Friday night, Tom Lynn, Andy Hergen, and I will be at Panther Stadium for that backyard battle between the Blue Jays of Central Columbia and the Panthers of Bloomsburg. Bloomsburg losing last night 12-0 to Towanda. Central Columbia defeating Mifflinburg by a score of 24-0. So backyard battle next Friday night. Airtime 6:30, kickoff 7 o'clock from Panther Stadium. Now back to pass is Colin Smith and connects on it out here to number 39, Jarrell Lathan. And so with just 4 seconds and the clock continuing to run, and that finally will do it. The final score here this afternoon, Bloomsburg 48, Cheyney 6. We'll be back with the wrap-up in this one after this 60-second break.